And welcome to the third episode of YAP2ASIA, everyone. We've got a guest today this time. It still is going to be Sleepy, blackenBlue, Joandy, our lovely producer, of course. Where is Paperthin, though, actually? He's not here today.
Somewhere, doing something.
Somewhere, doing something. I heard he's in Thailand somewhere, probably enjoying his time.
I think he's battling some royales or something.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean,
yeah,
we've got Alan here with us all the way from VCT China. So that's awesome. He's going to be our second guest covering some of the rostermania stuff. But apart from that, I mean, how has everyone been doing? Just to start things off, I think I've been okay, just listening, watching some off-season stuff, working out a little bit. In Singapore, we have like mandatory military service, right?
Yeah.
Even after you complete the service, you still have to do like a
reservice
test.
Yeah.
Well, if you get called up for that, but yeah, you have to do the fitness test like every year to prove that you are still fit and you're not some.
Are you?
Fat. No, I'm fat, dude. I thought I was gonna fail, but I went there and I miraculously passed. So we'll leave it at that.
I see your times on Instagram. Your 5 times. I think you'll make it. Yeah.
No, I'm falling off. But I mean, how have you guys been? Let's maybe start with blackenBlue.
I'm good. Same as you. Just watching off-season stuff when I can, and playing lots of video games. Frankly,
IRL games
Silent Hill has been keeping me company for a while.
Oh damn! All right.
Scared. You want to plug your other Instagram account a little bit?
Here.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I'm sorry, but I think it's really cool. But all right,
I'll have to check that out. Okay.
Sleepy.
Yeah, me. Well, I'm good too, man. Yeah, same. Been watching some of the off-season tournaments. I think it's pretty cool that we're kind of getting ahead of some Valo after some quiet time. So the withdrawals are being managed quite nicely heading into this off season. But yeah, excited to see what's up. Obviously, I'll just be honest, Alan. I don't know much about China and the scene, so I'm here on learning mode. I'm just gonna be a sponge today to absorb as much as I can from you.
I think that's what we all are doing.
Yes. So
for like the first hour, we're all just gonna shut up.
Yeah, just Alan do a monologue.
It's not gonna be a monologue because everyone is. I think everyone is really curious about what is going on in China, and even though that this is the first year of franchising in China has already gone, but everyone is still very curious about it. But when you learn about that, you have more like questions generated and something.
Oh yeah.
You have some more ideas about it. It is very natural, and I have to admit that there is still a lot of puzzles or something like mysterious or even like from the outside world, like if you are like Western viewers audience and looking into VCT China, and you feels like it's quite different in off seasons between For me, it feels like the off season in VCT China is a lot quieter. Is a lot quieter than the Western world, and you can see there is a lot of news that going around, rumors going around. That's what happens in China. That in generally most esports titles, So I kind of used to that. So just waiting for some off-season events, like something like that, because there are a lot of things that is going up and is upcoming. Like we have World Cup and the Asian Invitational is coming up. I think later, something like next month. Mm-hmm. So yes, could be busy later, but not now. It's quite take a rest time. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Okay.
But I guess maybe before I move on to that, I don't know, Joandy, do you want to share anything about your personal life?
Yeah, how have you been, Joandy? I heard you've been in Thailand too.
Yeah, nothing much. Just chilling in Pattaya for a few days.
Doing a bit of work. Okay.
Yep.
Nice. Very cool.
All right. I guess we shall just dive straight into the whole VCT China pie. I mean, there's so much to learn. I think so much that we don't quite fully know yet. Not a lot of coverage on China, apart from maybe the Chinese media. But I am curious, right? Like, apart from whatever's going on with VCT China, also, but like, who is Alan Gai? Like, do you have anything personal updates that you might want to share to start things off?
Yeah, it's a very strange name because Guy is my like Chinese last name. Yeah, so if you like check my Chinese name, it's very weird. I have 4 Chinese
4 characters
characters in my
instead of
name. Yeah,
3.
it's already very weird if you are Chinese. And yes, when you have a very complex Chinese name, you really want to choose a very simple English name. So when you that's what I do when I choose my English name. Yeah, so I'm my first esports title is Overwatch, and it's really early days. It's back in 2017. Actually, it's not my my first job. My first job after university is working as a management trainee in FMCG industry. There is a MNC which is called Unilever, which if you have any like see that sign of the giant U on
Yes.
your like soap or shampoo or something like that. Yeah, that's where my first belonging. And I spent like 2 years in that company, and suddenly I got some chances in get jumping into esports industry, and that's when that I got some invitations into some like tryout to cast Overwatch and Overwatch League, and that's when that I have the chance to switch my industry and get into the freelancer job. Yeah. So and after I get into Overwatch, I spent like 3-4 years, something like that. And 2020, that when Valorant is beta, it's very interesting time because back then I still remember the days that when Valorant is in closed beta or something like that. Because when that time you need to go to Twitch and hope you can get a job.
It drops.
Yeah,
Yeah.
got a job and got access to the beta, and there is only US server, I think. So and there isn't like boosting service by then. So you have to endure like something like 200 ping and get into the US server or something like LA or something like that.
Race
And
at 2
game.
nades.
Yeah. It's like the very early like vanilla days, but I still think that at that stage that every players in the server is in the lobby is very friendly because nobody knows what this game is really doing
Yeah.
or something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah,
It wasn't
You
toxic
can't
yet.
you can't be toxic if you don't know what you're doing,
there's
right?
no
So
way there is no way you can be toxic to anyone, even though that someone is lagging like.
Well,
and
clearly you
just
don't
really-
know me.
Yeah,
Okay.
really.
well, if it opened in Southeast Asia, it might have been a
Mhm.
different look, right, back
Okay,
then.
yeah.
So, but yeah, US, so it was safe.
Yeah. So and back then, this game is not really published in China. It's not even like really known in China. I still remember that because there is no official like SNS in variant in China. I remember the very early days. There is the first, I think, video of Valorant, which is called the Round or something like that. And I uploaded the video into my personal channel on Bilibili, and is there I will still go to that video like for some times nowadays to search for the comments like maybe 4 years ago, something like that. Yes. And you see it's very interesting because back in 4 years ago, not a lot of people will look really optimistic about this game or esports future in China. Yeah, it's really looks interesting if you do the comparison. And yeah, so and after like 2020, 2021, I actually played the game very early, like I said, and I followed the esports scene of Valorant very early because something like First Strike, Ignition Series, back the very early official tournaments, and yes, and after these tournaments, I saw a lot of potential in it, and that's when that I decided I should give it a try, to put it on my list on my career. So and in 2021, there is something going around in China that this game could be officially published in China future. We don't know when, but at some times. So in 2022, I think in 2021, 2022, something like that, I got some chances to cast some game, to join some desk of this game, of some tournament in China. Even though like back then it is not official one, it is something like a community match, community tournament, something like that. And that's how I started in VALORANT. And yeah, and then we go to the VCT era, but China has not in the franchising era in the very first days.
Yeah.
But in 2023, everything changing really fast because this
Yeah.
game got published in China, and as soon as these things happen, a lot of things that change it like whole upside down. Yeah. So that's my story of in esports and in VALORANT. It's not a very long one, but it still feels like it still feels like it changed a lot because back in 2017, I think back in 2017, esports is still like the very going uphill because a lot of money
Oh
is
yeah.
pouring into the
Yeah.
industry, and but now I think everyone is more realistic, and how should I say? I don't know if I should say everything is more healthy, but I think realistic is the most like accurate thing that I should say. Yeah.
Yeah, there's been a correction, I would say,
Yeah. Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
in terms of expectations, in terms of
Mm-hmm.
people correctly assessing whatever's happening in the landscape. I think now
Yeah.
people are starting to see esports for what it actually is instead of the bubble that
Yeah.
was
Yeah. Yeah.
being built up back then.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was very interesting. I think just one question that popped into my head as you were telling your story was that what made you interested in Valorant? Because it was such a new game. And as you said, if you look back at the comments people were making back then, 4 years ago, they were not very optimistic, right?
Yeah.
But you decided to pursue it anyway. So I was just curious what made you decide, like, okay, I'm gonna try Valorant, and hey, you made it this far, right? So what was that process like for you?
And especially because you like started from like Overwatch, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
going into
It's
Valorant from Overwatch.
it is very different. Even like from my standpoint, from my personal point of view, like from now, if I looking back, these two games are still very different
Mm,
because one is like a hero based shooting game, and the other is a very tactical shooting game. It's very different. And but back then, I think the most important thing that drives me to I have to put Valorant on my career list is this game at its core. I think is good because when I even like why I would like to play it, like even though that I have to endure the 200 ping, and it's really not bearable, to be honest.
yeah.
If there is another new games popping up on Steam or on any other platform, like it said, no, you have to watch Twitch for maybe 5 hours, 10 hours. You have to wait for a job, and you have to endure like 200 pains now and to get a test. I don't think I would do that. I will very hesitate. But for Valorant, I think I tried at the very first time, and I feel like this game at its very core, the gameplay itself is very interesting.
Mm,
So I think that is the first drive for me, and the first and the most important thing for me, that this game is very enjoying, and it could be something like for me for a very long time. It won't make me feel like it's tiring, exhausted, or something like that. So it could be interesting for a very long time and intriguing me. So this is the first thing, and the second thing is like I said, when in 2020 and 2021 there is a lot of community tournament, something like First Strike, Ignition Series, and although a lot of things are happening in US, in North America, most of them are happening in North America actually. I still feels like these tournaments have some energy in it. There could be storylines behind it, and when we like when we're looking back from now, you could find that because there are a lot of players that have been playing like 3 or 4 years, and
yeah.
the storylines have been built. And I think back in 2020, you cannot predict how the storyline's going because back in 2020, Tens is playing professional and going to stream, and you don't know if he's going to pro again. And but still, I saw the potential in it. I saw that the tournament and even like it is very how to say robust. The tournament is very like there's no heart, there is no very good observers back then, but still the gameplay itself and the competition at its very pure like level is high. So I think it's these two sides intriguing me a lot, and that's why that I have to put it on my list. And even though I don't know if it's gonna be success because transitioning from one title to another title could be difficult, yes,
Yeah.
but I have to give it a try. Yeah,
Wow,
It's like-
glad you did.
Yeah.
that's true.
Potential of the game and kind of
Mhm.
like the gameplay itself really spoke to Alan, I guess. And
Yeah.
it really is really cool. I mean, I think I mean, that's another thing that we're kind of curious about, like how big Valorant really is in China, or why it even is that big. I mean, definitely, I feel like KangKang being who he is and stuff really brought a lot of eyeballs to the whole scene. But even like before that, just leading up to that, like why is Valorant that big? I mean, we're seeing like from that little tweet that it's 1.8 million peak concurrent viewers for Valorant China. It's the highest among all the leagues.
Yeah, I personally I think I didn't predict that this number goes to that kind of standard. And to be honest, I feels like even like VCT China themselves, they don't expect these things to go like this big in the first year, because this is not good. This is huge, like a lot higher than the expectation that you could have for the first year. And to be honest, I feels like this game, because we're talking about the numbers of esports of audience in VCT China, and it looks good. And for the game itself, it also looks very good, because in the first year, this game is already I think it's already the very first or top three games in China that you could
Wow.
have in like PC bands or in any like PC's installation or something like that. It is already a very popular thing. And if you go to a PC band in China now, it's already very common that you could see that players playing like Valorant in PC band now. And PC band in China is still a very big indicator of whether a game is popular enough. And there is actually a trend in China in PC ban, because in the early days there is CS:GO mostly in there, and then it's PUBG. PUBG is a huge thing in China, and and there is a time that when there is a mix, like Overwatch is also a part of it, and then League of Legends is really dominating the whole thing throughout a long time. But after League of Legends dominance, there is actually not a lot things to like shaking that. Maybe like Crossing Fire is something like that, but
Oh.
there has to be a product that could like be another dominance in like PC balance popularity. And also, I think in China, to be honest, the one reason that Valorant could be big as a game is like there has been a long time that there hasn't been a product that is also good, and that not only good but also like properly like treated, properly like you have
Supported,
to
managed.
communicate you support it and communicate to the players, to the community or something like that. Because normally when we are talking about tactical FPS, we talk about CS:GO, we talk about like Rainbow Six, we talk about
Right.
other games, but these games are not really like properly treated in China.
Yeah.
And a lot of them,
Valve doesn't really give a shit.
yeah. I think that is
Unless you're Dota.
really that is really happening here, because
Yeah.
I don't think like Chinese players don't want to play FPS. It's really like not possible. You can see that Crossfire is very popular in China.
Yeah, it's
But
huge.
besides Crossfire, there isn't anything. And Crossfire is something like Crossfires themselves are also trying to update themselves. They are trying to go to different iterations of themselves. They have CFHD right now. So I think that's why the variant could be big and should be big in China, because there is a vacant there. There's a vacancy in tactical FPS, or generally even FPS in China, because a lot of different things happening in China. Like there is something happening to Overwatch, there's something happening to CS:GO, there's something happening to other tactical FPS. Like Rainbow Six is really delayed into the official publishment of Rainbow Six is really delayed. Yeah, so a lot of things is really happening. So there's a huge vacancy there, and the FPS players in China are really desired, are really thirsty for games. But yes, this game has to be good. This thing has to be good. If you are a game that is really lame, it's not going to be popular. So I think yes, Valorant at its core, like I said, is good. It has very good gameplay at its very core. But also, I think it hits the market that really needs an FPS title, and that is China. And also, like we do have a very huge population in China, so that's why that I think it reminds me of a debate or something like a discussion about like VCT China, like when it is announced, because I think a lot of opinions in outside of China, or even inside China, we talk a lot about it, that if VCT China is the right step to have a fourth region besides VCT EMEA, Americas, and Pacific, should be like VCT China just be included into VCT Pacific or something like that. Back then, because this game is not really there, this game is not really officially launched in China, but VCT China is just this concept, this region is going ahead, and it takes a quarter of the whole esports thing of Valorant. So back then, I think a lot of opinions is really rejecting this. They really think that this is not the right step to do this. They think that maybe VCT China shouldn't be like the fourth region, like in the whole map. But I think Riot is really doing this work. We're not looking at the current situation. We're looking at the potential market capacity of China, and that's why. Because back then there is no EEGA is going to win champs theory.
Yeah.
There is zero clue, and I don't
Not
think
yet.
Riot is doing this because they hope that they really calculated that there will be a China championship winner back then. They're doing this because they think that this region, this country, will have the capacity to support this whole thing. So I think yes, China is always a huge market for any games, but especially for a tactical FPS. So yes, that's my conclusion.
Wow.
Luckily for I guess the Chinese scene as a whole, the fact that
Mhm.
EDG1 kind of justified the whole circuit
Yeah.
existing in the first place.
Kind of silence the doubters, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, would you say that
Already
like
last year, I think it was like proven that
Even before EDG1, right?
Yeah,
When KangKang was just starting to give us signature poses and
Yes.
started showing up in like magazines and stuff, like it felt like
Already.
the spark that China needed to, I guess, propel Valorant into what it is today.
Yeah,
how
that's
much
true.
of a superstar is KangKang over there?
Yeah, I'm actually very curious. Like,
recognize him?
After he sang the song of the
Like, how should I describe it? I think if you are esports fans of Valorant in China, there is no way that you don't know KangKang. And there is a very like slight way that you are not a fan of KangKang, to be honest. There could be haters anyway, like it's very normal. But
haters be
like,
hating. Yeah.
yeah, that's very normal. But like in China, you could really easily become a fan of KangKang. There is like 99% of esports fan Valorant esports fan in China are fans of KangKang. It's very natural because he is the icon now, and he to be honest, I think in maybe 2 or 3 years he will still be the icon of VALORANT Esports China, and not only in esports, because if you like go to like some more general like discussion area like BBS or something like VALORANT in China. Maybe not about esports, but about like the game itself. You'll see a lot of discussion about what is the equipment that he used, what is the setting that he used.
Right.
Yeah, it is very natural that his influence has already very surpassed the esports itself and going into the games. And because and I think, to be honest, I think KangKang is a rare animal that in China, especially in China in this industry, because most esports players that I know before KangKang, like in China, they are shy. They don't want to expose themselves too much to the audience. They feel they fear to be hurt. It's very natural, to be honest, because the community environment in China is not really that friendly to you, especially when you try to expose yourself to the audience. But I think KangKang has very rare personality that he tries to expose himself to the audience. He's not really fear of that, and I think that I would really welcome everything that comes to me, and he is growing through that whole thing. So it's really not common, to be honest. It's really surprised me in the early stage. For now, I'm not very surprised because I know who he is. But back in like 2020, 2021, it really surprised me that these kind of players, and back then he's only 18, and now he's only 19. Such young players, but he has really like matured like personality and attractive at the same time. So it's he's really the I think the unthinkable surprise that goes to VCT China, because without KangKang, I think VCT China will be different. It could be like there still could be another champion. Maybe, I don't know. There could be, the game could be popular, but you don't have that kind of icon type of people, and you don't have that kind of people that serves as your face of this whole thing. So it's really different. Yeah.
I am curious though, like I mean, definitely having someone to have that much personality is quite rare. It could be like maybe a bit of Asian values, because I feel like a lot of us also kind of have that kind of vibe within us to be a little bit shy. But is there like anyone else who has that much personality, or maybe they're starting to show more personality after what KangKang has done? And what is like the community's reception to that? Like, how do they feel about, people? Do they still think that like it's kind of rude if you like talk bad about your opponents, things like that?
I don't think it's rude. It's and I think like, as it's thanks to KangKang, I think the community like this accepted this kind of like general atmosphere in this thing. And another side of KangKang is he's aggressive. He's really showing off his personality on stage, but at the same time, you can't really, you have zero feeling that he's toxic, and that is really different, because like when someone is like I don't know, like BMU in the game, like really like there are something like in the game that you would really feel annoyed, that you will really feel like or as some audience you really feel that I feel like triggered or something like that. I feel this player is toxic or something like that. But you could never like link KangKang to that word, because it doesn't make you feel that unpleasant thing. So it is very different. He's showing off on stage, yes, but he's showing off his talent. He's showing off his personality, but he's not attacking anyone, and that is really different. So I think from KangKang, like every audience or most audience like also like just accepted this kind of atmosphere that VALORANT China player is he's more open than other title players. Like if we do make some comparison, like if we compare like Valorant players in China and to other titles players in China, like League of Legends players in China, you feel like a lot of them are more more dare to speak things, like
Mm.
talk openly, like maybe on stage or maybe at the interview or something like that. Yes, there are still things that they don't want to touch. There are still some lines they don't want to cross, but like I said, they generally don't want to mock others too much or attack others, but it's still like they are more open than the other titles players. So I think the thing is generally like have some kind of, how to say, mutual mutual sense about what should we do, what should we behave, and that is majority like, I think, as thanks to KangKang's performance or his
Wow.
behavior. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree because I've had this conversation actually with different hosts in the past where I was asking them from all the kind of genres that you've interviewed players of, pro players, who's like the nerdiest, right? Who's the most shy on camera? And all of them have told me like MOBA players are generally the most shy to interview compared to like FPS and fighting game players. So I guess it rings true worldwide, right?
Yeah.
Very
Wow.
cool. Yeah.
So
Well, I mean,
yeah.
we're starting to see, more, community, like well-received community feedback from, players like KangKang and stuff like that. We know that the community in China is just generally really, really big, and that's one of the main reasons why, VCT China stands out, I think. But apart from that, we're also really curious, like, what else helps VCT China stand out, I think. Because there's like so much that goes on with just like the production, the arena itself. I mean, we're seeing an article from like VALORANT2ASIA that Jondi covered about how they built the venue in like 50 days. They drew inspiration from the theme parks, like Disney and whatever. But also, I guess just like how the whole scene is structured, because it was always maybe kind of like China was brought into the franchise leagues, international leagues a little bit later. But how did all the players and all the esports teams kind of work towards that? How did they structure everything together?
Well, I think the first thing is Tengjin Sports is really helping a lot in that. They actually doing a lot of works, pouring their hearts into organizing the whole thing, because Tengjin Sports is in charge of most like organization or
It's called Tengjin
TJ.
TJ.
Yeah,
TJ.
TJ Sports, because
Okay.
TJ Sports is in charge of the whole thing, the whole environment, and including us, including like the host, the casters and teams, the players, and also including the tournament. So I think they really do a lot of jobs, and a lot of stuff that I know there is really doing their best of work. And uh, some of them I know that working back uh, from like when the game is still not really published and until now, and they have through different periods, and I still feel like it's without them we couldn't really have this kind of stage, this kind of thing. And also I think throughout the process, like when you refer to the article that the Valorant arena in China has been built like throughout the 15 days. I actually have to mention that these 50 days, including Spring Festival, it's actually like in a very like tight days, and in very, because Spring Festival is the most important festival in China, and mostly speaking, generally speaking, you can't do too much like construction works
Sure.
throughout the period. But whatever, like I think they really tried a lot of money maybe, and a lot of works, and also a lot of communications and collaborations with the local government to make sure that everything goes as planned. Because when you have such a tight schedule, anything that goes south could be like
Yeah,
catastrophic.
have
And
a big
yes,
impact. Yeah.
yeah. So I think like um this is very early example of how like they make sure that everything goes the way that they want. And also like for 2024 we have a lot of road shows like I mean like the stage 2 finals of VCT China goes to Changsha, and they plan to go to other cities in the future if possible. And so it also shows that I think Tenjin Sports is really doing their best, and also they like really they have a lot of experiments, whether it is success or unsuccess in other titles like in League of Legends, in Wild Rift, or in other titles. They use that experiments into into Valorant. So that's why that we can see that they doing a lot of work that in advance they can expect some things that beforehand. So yes, I think a lot of people's blood and sweat has been put into this project, the whole journey. And still now I think more and more like people are getting on board with into this group, into this team, and trying to make this better. Yeah.
Nice. Well, before we get deeper, I just have
Mhm.
one question. We've been hearing a lot of success stories, and it looks like everything is going great in VCT China or in Valorant for China, right? But is there, from your POV, anything that you'd like to see being improved, or is there anything for you left to do, or is this just okay? Let's just keep this momentum and this trajectory, and everything will be fine. Or is there something that you'd like to? Maybe there's something we can tweak here a bit so that it gets even better.
Yeah, I think for now it looks like everything is quite good for now
Mm.
because mostly everyone is satisfied. But if there is something left for me to say, or if there is something in my eyes that maybe could be done better, is actually in China, the tier 2 thing is quite different
Ah,
uh, from from the outside
the
world,
rest.
because
Okay.
we don't have VCL in China. We do have
Mm.
a national series, the national cup, which is serves as the tier 2 in China, but it actually like combined the tier 3 to tier 2, so it's kind of mixed. So I think, I don't know, it feels to me that if it could have some dividends between tier 3 and tier 2 could be better.
I see.
Yeah. And also I think another thing that is quite related to tier 2 is GC, because in China game changers is still not really that big. So
Mm.
for consecutive in 2 years, game changers China only have a qualifiers before the championship happens. So
Right.
that's why that you can see a lot of VCT China's game changers team is assembled quite late, because they don't
Right.
have tournaments to play before
Eh,
like
the
Right.
I don't know,
official like
before like July.
the right,
Yeah, they
right.
don't have. Yeah. And
Mm.
they can have a team, because if you have a team but there is nothing to play,
You're
it
not doing
means
anything.
it. Yeah. It means very little. So most
Okay.
teams do have their they assembled, they boot camped only like before this qualifier announced or opened. So I think it's kind of limits the potential of game changers in China. And even though like it limits something, I still see that these 2024 game changers qualifier in
Mm.
China has improved a lot in gameplay level compared to last year, because players are improving, and we saw a lot of different new players popping up. So yes, I think these things could be changed in the future. Maybe it's just
So
not really
Yeah.
the right time. Yeah.
Well,
what about
One at
like
a time.
the third party events, or like third party organizers, apart from like the national series? Are
Mhm.
there a lot of those other events leading up to, like, say, the Game Changers qualifiers, or any other like Valorant VCT events in China?
Yeah, there are a lot of third party tournaments actually that happening now, because if you notice, there's the WoE Cup I think just ended like yesterday or the day before yesterday, and there is FGC coming up. There is for last year we would really complain that there's nothing to see in China when you have an off season. But this year, I think in China there are a lot of things happening, and I think from what I saw, the audience is not really complaining that much because if you are EDG fan, you could be complaining a little bit because they don't play because they don't play in this tournament. But anyway, generally speaking, these tournaments are served their purpose very well for now, from what I saw, because like World E Cup serves as as an experiment place for these teams. Like if you that like Wolves win the championship with their new roster, with Lysol join their roster, and teams are trying different things. So that's served as a purpose, I think. Yeah.
Well, seeing as how you kind of mentioned, game changers being a bit limited, do you think it would be a scene that would kind of benefit being integrated to the rest of Asia, as compared to, obviously the tier 1, tier 2 scene won't be, but do you think game changers itself, if it was only game changers, do you think they could benefit off of having more experience and having more, I guess, regularity in their games and tournaments if they are integrated with the rest of Asia?
I think it could be, but to be honest, there could be some logistics thing because, like, if you like, I think they have 2 splits or 3 splits, right? This whole year, like in SEA or something. And if you like combine the China and maybe like SEA or Japan or Korea, I don't know, then it could be like because it has to be online, and there could be ping issue. So there could be something other things, and Chinese server is a separate server, so a lot of logistics thing is between this. So I don't think that is very easy to be done. And to be honest, if in the future there could be some more frequent game changers tournaments or splits in China, I think they would better to do themselves. But it really depends how fast this thing is growing or something like that. Yeah.
Guess it depends. Yeah, logistics always is.
Depends. Yeah.
Is
like
the ping bad to
big
the rest
hurdle.
of East Asia from China? Like, I don't know, like to Korea and Japan, is the ping bad from China?
I
for
think
last
it's
year,
more
I
like
think
They
it's
have
a
their own
different server
servers.
altogether, right? So they
Yeah.
can't really
yeah.
play cross server, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, they kind of could play cross server, and they have
Okay.
to change the server.
Oh,
I don't know
okay.
after map or something, because there could also be something different to make sure that everyone feels fair or something like
Right.
that.
Right.
But it is still very difficult. Like even though it is just a one-off thing last year for the East Asia
Right.
qualifier, so it's really tough to imagine if you want to change it from a once and all, the
Yeah,
qualifier to a regular season.
Yeah, could be a problem. Okay.
Challenges.
I guess we'll wait. We'll wait on that.
It's like big questions that we don't know how to answer. So
Yep.
we'll let Riot figure that out.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're just here to yap. I guess a few more things before we dive into the nitty gritty like roster mania stuff. Any like fun questions? We have heard like, well, I guess it's not really rumors. We have heard tales or stories of how like to be a caster in VCT China is not a simple thing. You have like rank requirements. You have to be at least immortal. Something
Wait,
like
actually?
No, it's not. I have
not
to.
entirely sure.
Yeah, I have to mix this in right. It's not really like. There is some requirements, but it's not immortal. Like I think for when I sign up, it's something like Ascendant.
Oh,
Yeah,
Still,
something like
that's one down from immortal.
that's up there.
Yeah.
We're barely in there, Quack.
Yeah, and now actually, and because we just have a new batch of customers coming up, and I think their restriction is you have to be at diamonds. Yeah, I think it's diamonds.
Okay.
It feels
What's
like
your rank, Alan?
I'm currently ascendant. I actually climbed up to ascendant just because like
Wow.
I don't. We have Caster's Cup coming up and something like that. Yeah.
Caster's Cup.
Caster's Cup. What is that? What is a Caster's Cup?
Because it's actually kind of a tradition from League of Legends in China because they have a casters cup in China and it's combined with casters, hosts, and other people we will have. It's actually started just like we'll have a custom lobby and we go into a 5v5 or something like that. And later, a lot of fans that really want this to be a thing, and later
they want to watch.
They want to watch the casters play.
So League of Legends themselves to make these things generally like they make it step by step more official, and even like they have official broadcast like for one or two years in a row, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, that's for League of Legends. And for ourselves, for Valorant in China, we are only give it a try this year, so it's not be that official. Yeah,
okay. Is it gonna be streamed though?
It's not. Well, there won't be an official stream, but we will stream it anyway.
Oh, well, we can watch Alan destroy this.
You can watch it on my stream. Yeah.
Does that mean there's no like official like broadcast? There's no one casting the casters games.
Yeah. No.
Let me introduce you to Quack and blackenBlue. These guys are very well versed in casting Valorant.
No, I was thinking like maybe they get KangKang to cast over the casters games. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Imagine.
Swap the roles around.
Actually, for League of Legends, they do have like players at the desk to cast the games.
Okay.
I want to see that.
So it's not impossible.
It's not impossible.
In the realm of possibility.
Okay. Not the first year. Maybe later.
Maybe next year. All right.
They're just like casting, watching Alan. 非常菜. Oh, he's like so bad.
Yeah, that's normally what my audience would say when they watch my game. Yeah, and actually, I became a caster in China. I think it's not. I would like to say I wouldn't say it's really difficult because it's kind of because I think you guys know caster is not a job that is really an open job. Like you go into you go into a test, you go into a test, and there is a grade. You're going above that grade, and you got the job. It's not like that thing. It's more like a job that is suit for you or not suit for you. So if it is really suitable for you, it is not really that difficult. But it really depends on the timing. It's really depending on how much the opportunity is opening up. Like for me, when I'm transitioning from Overwatch to Valorant, I feel lucky because at that time it's very early, and at that time Valorant is not really that popular in China. If you're a caster back then, you won't really put Valorant on your top rank list, on your top priority, of any titles, because you don't know how much these things will go big. If this thing never get published in China,
right,
it could be bad for you.
It's a gamble.
So yes, so for me, actually, my final decision when I'm switching is yes, it's actually after that this thing is decided to be officially published. So for me, it's a very important factor that influenced me to do the decision. And I think in China nowadays it feels rigorous to be any titles caster, because in China there are a lot of young men, young girls trying to be someone in this industry, to try to be a caster in this industry. So it's not only Valorant, it's also most titles in esports in China. It still have a lot of young talents popping up. They have an esports stream, they have a caster stream, they want to try what it feels like to be a caster. And also, I do think that caster as a job has a kind of that attraction to certain type of people, that if you really want to talk, to share, to speak, it could attract you. And even though that like we all spoke before, like we all admit that this the whole esports thing is having a correction right now, and even in China it's also have that kind of trends, because it's not like 2 years 3 years before it's really like looking that optimistic, but still young like graduates from university or something like some people like that are trying to have their chances in this. And that's why that it looks difficult, because there are a lot of people wants to be in there, and as like if you are TJ Sports, you have to set a very high bar to make sure that okay, we select the best from this group of people, from this group of applicants. Yeah.
How
So yeah, that's I think that's why, because that's why it feels like rigorous in China, because there are a lot of people who want to be in this line. Yeah.
how is the progression of like being a caster in China? Are there any like caster workshops for up and coming casters and stuff like that? And
Or is there
how
like an
is
audition process? Like,
is
do
there
you have
like
Or
to
an
talent
audition process?
hunt or
Yeah.
Yeah.
something like that.
For titles like League of Legends and VALORANT in China, because they are organized by TJ Sports, so they have a very thorough, like the process of
Mm.
how to sign up, how to just like these photos is showing. They have a very long period of you sign up, and you maybe you uploaded a short video of
Oh.
an audition, and they select some of them, go into a camp, and they try it
Camp.
out in this camp, and like this, it's a camp,
Wow.
something like that. And you because China is very big, you have to go from other place to maybe
Right.
to
Different
Shanghai,
provinces.
and they have to they spend some time, maybe a week or few in this camp, and they have some auditions, have some tests, and I think the most important thing in this camp is you do have some rehearsal or something like that, and try it out to be a caster, and then there will be some there will be some decisions to be made by TJ Sports, and they will decide who is better fit for this job. And yeah, so basically that's the thing. And it's really different from titles to titles, because for TJ Sports they do have this process, but for other titles they may not have this kind of process. It could be like, we have this opportunity, we asking around if anyone is interested,
Ah,
and
Mm.
if you are
more.
interested, you send me a clip or something, and yeah, it's more of like this. So it's really depending on if this title is big enough, or if this company is treating it serious enough, I think.
Right.
Because that
It's
would have
like a
been.
management trainee program.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can
yeah, yeah,
go
yeah,
through
something like that.
with Valorant. So
Yeah,
if you're good enough, you get selected,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
you get a try.
As opposed to the, hey, I know a guy. Do you want to try it? Like, that's all we've all done.
Yeah, that's how we did it over here.
I know, right?
That's
I'm
cool,
I'm
Well,
actually.
curious though,
my
like
schedule's full. How about you?
Alan, have you actually gone through this like casters camp yourself?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course, I actually gone through the first. We have like,
Oh,
I think we have three camps for now. I'm in the
okay.
first batch. I think it's quite early in last year.
Can you
Yeah.
share a bit more about like how the camp really like went? Like how long was the camp?
I
What
think
did
Were
you
the
it's
do?
speakers
for
other casters?
yeah. I think for us, it feels like the first. It feels like it feels like like 1 or 2 weeks, something like two
Or two
weeks,
weeks of
around
Okay.
2 weeks.
training.
Yeah, in 2 weeks you spend a lot of times with your fellow friends, with your
Mm.
fellow, like also your
Other
maybe your
casters.
future colleague, something
Candidates.
like
Yeah.
yeah, other candidates or something like that. And also you actually you have a lot of times digging up and trying to figure out what is your style, and how do you want to
Uh,
cast, and have a lot of the tryout with different pair, and that is the most important thing that I think in that camp, because uh, most of us in that camps have we do have a lot of history between us.
Mm,
We do know each other, and we do maybe casted with each other like beforehand, in some community tournaments or matches. But uh, the most important thing is you have to make sure that you have find your best co-casters after
mm.
this thing,
kind
and
of
to make sure
duo.
that you have the best performance on the stage. So yes, so the process is it's kind of tired, to be honest, because it's tight.
Two
It's
weeks,
really
man.
tight. Yeah, 2 weeks, and there isn't a lot of rest throughout the process. You
Wow.
don't have too much rest days, and you have to practice a lot, and to
Hmm.
uh, there because before that camps, a lot of things are really robust and really unclear. But there are some certain requirements about how you should call this, how you should call that, and what is the general process of what we do and how we do. So yes, there is something. I couldn't say it's torture, but it feels tiring. It feels tiring. Yeah, it's
Torture.
tiring. Yeah, it's not torture because you choose to be there. You
Yeah,
choose to
Right,
be
right,
there.
right.
You know, it's not like it's not like mandatory or complimentary, but it's tiring. But it's also a period that is very important because during that time you have a very fast period of like finding your own play styles, finding your own casting styles, and finding your co-caster peers, and that is very important. And also, I think for us, knowing someone and finding some friends is also very important because in this thing, having friendship between your colleagues is the most important thing if you want to find someone or if you want to stay longer in this thing. So most of us after that can become very good friends and for a very long time. Yeah.
I was actually about to ask about that, like
Yeah.
how the bonds are in the China circuit for the casters, like because even in Southeast Asia there are some regions, to be frank with you guys, where everybody's friends, and then some other regions everybody's kind of like screw y'all, right? I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah. I don't know about you,
I'm not gonna
Filipino
tell you-
casters.
No, us in the Philippines are all pretty tight knit, but I know some other regions in SCA who are not. So how about in China? How are things? I assume like going through that kind of adversity together kind of bonds everybody together, right?
Yeah. That's true. That's what I said. That good. If you if you spend like 2 weeks
Together.
I can't say 24/7, but kind of like
Wow.
5 or 8 hours or even 10 hours
A day.
a day with
Training, being tortured.
with training and
You don't sleep there, right?
speaking, talking. Yeah, we have sleep. We have sleep. I sleep and talk. And with these friends, then you will have a lot of knowledge about them. You will have a very deep connections with them, and
Boot
after
camp.
that time, you will have a lot of bond with each other and become very good friends. So
Nice.
that's true. And I think that's why that like for the newcomers, like the second batch of casters or third batch is could have some difficulty into getting in this environment because it's very natural because we spend more time together. But I think
Right.
it just take times. It's okay. It's like you are the freshman here. You take some time in getting to us and knowing each other, and later it could be you could find your own position in this family. It's okay.
Okay.
It's always difficult being the FNG, isn't
Yeah,
it?
the new guy.
Yeah, it's normal. It's very normal. Like when I first get there, I'm before me when I have my first casting in Valorant here with my friends now. It's kind of like I'm the newcomers actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm newcomers, even though that this is it's not official at that time. But I'm also the newcomers there. But I spend some times and blending in. Yeah, so it's okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I relate to that a lot. Just joining Pacific.
New
and
guy?
like, oh my god, Achilles! Oh my god, Shomra!
No, you the man. You the
Nah,
man.
dude.
Quack. You know,
Man,
guys,
it
I knew
is-
Quack even before Valorant, and I only joined Valorant so that he would be my friend. 'Cause
Shut
he's
up.
gonna notice me
That's
during
not
the
true.
Ah.
More like the opposite way around. Yeah, it's always
Nice.
scary being the new guy, but with time, I guess like you respect the people and you start to really work with them more. Then like things get a lot smoother. So yeah, very cool stuff. I didn't know that they had like a whole caster
honestly,
camp.
when Alan was describing this camp, all I have in my head is a Harry Potter hall with a sorting hat.
Oh
Like,
my god!
At the end, you'll just be like, okay, you're play-by-play. Okay, your color. And then you're like paired up according to your classes and houses, I guess. But
I want
I think it's
Alan
pretty cool.
to be like, maybe Alan would be like a caster Professor of casting.
Professor Cat.
Yeah.
To be
That would be
honest,
sick.
yeah, if I want to describe it, it's more of like a huge dating.
Oh, he's
dating
dating.
part.
No.
Yeah, you try with different casters. And
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
if
You have
we
to
are
pair up, right?
if we are
Yeah,
better
yeah.
fit,
And
and
who's
if,
gonna like?
if we are not, yeah. It's more of like
Okay.
We
I
should
have
do
my
like,
Well,
mic.
damn.
I
it should
think
be
I
like a
will.
speed dating show, you know?
Yeah.
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 They hit the buzzer in the middle, swap out.
Oh man. Yeah. I don't think I like the way this guy casted with me. Just compatibility wasn't there. Oh my gosh.
That would be
how it-
sick. That would be sick. Okay.
Is that we'll have like a YAP2ASIA show for this?
Mr. Joandy,
Yeah,
get to
Mr.
work, sir.
Johnny.
invite like 20 guests to the show.
Whoa.
and
Guest
do it.
casters from like all over the region, and then just
The
try
idea.
pairing
No,
pair
you
them
know
up
what we
together.
should have? We should take a play out of their book. We should have a APAC caster cup as well.
I was
Yeah.
thinking that. I
Right.
think we should definitely do a Pacific Caster Cup.
There we go.
And get
I
a
think
player
that
to
would be
cast
sick.
it.
Joandy, please. Joandy, I'm begging
Johnny,
you.
please.
Valid
ahead.
Asia
Think of the
Invitational number
content.
2.
Think of the content.
Oh
All right.
my god.
Shall we head into
Yes.
the
Any last
actual-
questions before
Yeah,
we
any last questions? Or
jump into
thoughts?
Rostermania? No one? Okay,
Nah.
I think we're good. Yeah,
I
let's
do
get
have a
into.
one question, actually.
Okay, yes, go for it.
Okay.
Let's say, right, because we've had tournaments in many places of the world here for Valorant. We've had MAKAN2ASIA for, obviously Indonesia. We've had the same thing for Thailand as well.
Thailand a
if
little bit,
say
yeah.
there was a LAN to happen again in
China.
Shanghai, for example, there's has to be something food-wise you can recommend everybody has to go to or seek out when it comes to cuisine in the specific Shanghai region.
Give us
Oh.
something different, something not like 生煎包, something interesting.
Something not like something like Haidilao.
Not
no. That's every
No,
Valorant
Haidilao.
player's go-to place.
Always.
So we know already.
Okay.
Something else.
Only
Something else.
the real
New.
people would know.
Yeah.
Yes.
I do have a recommendation. It's actually when Vic come to Shanghai.
Victoria.
She wants to eat. Yeah, but later I think it's really something that others really need to try. It's
Okay.
crab noodle, but
Crab
it's
noodle.
it's crab noodle, but it's not really how should I say? It's not crab meat. It's not crab meat. It's crab what?
Like roe, the eggs.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's
Look
it
at
called
the,
in Chinese?
How should I say? Yeah. It's a crab roll. It's a crab roll. Meat.
Okay.
Crab roll. It's really like how should I say? If you really like the smell, the taste of crab roll, it's really delicious.
Really good.
Yeah, it's really good, and
Okay.
it looks good. And if you don't like it, I highly recommend you test it a little bit. Yeah, but
I'll
be
try
careful.
it. Yeah.
because- yeah, but really be careful because I do know that some other people who don't really like the feeling or the smell of it. Yeah.
Crab roll.
Crab row. Okay.
What's the
I like
name of
seafood.
the dish in Chinese? Maybe if Johnny can like get a picture.
It's 蟹黄.
Huang. Like X I
Huang
E.
is the roll.
Yeah, right. Yellow.
Quack
Huang. Yeah, I can kind of do it. Wait, actually, maybe Johnny has it already. So it's like crab roe or eggs with noodles, and that's the
Yeah,
dish.
with noodles. Yeah, with noodles. Actually,
Okay.
these pics are very accurate. Especially the I think the pics on the second or the third row is quite accurate.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of how should I describe it? It
Like-
feels like it's I don't know how to describe it because it's kind of a complex feeling in your mouth, but
Okay.
it tastes good. It tastes good for me at least.
Okay.
That's compelling.
Yeah.
Sold.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
We
gotta
know where to
try it.
go when
know,
we're in Shanghai.
We're all Asian. All
Yeah.
you had to say was noodle.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
that is
And we're
true.
good for it.
That's true.
That's right.
All
That's right.
right. Okay, we got that.
Thanks-
Hopefully,
thanks,
we'll
Alan.
have a VCT in China again, like eventually.
Sure.
Masters or
Yeah,
champions.
we'll have it in 2026. So anyway, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true. Because they
Oh.
rotate around.
Maybe not in Shanghai because I don't know where they will put
Right.
it at. Yeah.
Where
Beijing?
else?
Okay.
I don't know.
Beijing.
I assume.
Guangzhou.
something.
Okay.
But yeah, with that, I guess it's time to dive straight into the whole big like roster mania stuff going on. Alan mentioned that it's not like that like loud or noisy in like China roster mania, but what is going on as at least from what you can tell us?
Well, we don't saw a lot of like movements in China. A lot of
Mhm.
things are still at the very rumor stage or something like that. But uh, for now, I think the most like attracting movements is is Wolves or something.
Wolves
Like
Esports.
Wolves, yeah, Wolves Esports, because Wolves got Lysol into their lineup, and
Mhm.
from
From
the first,
FPX.
yeah, from FPX, and from the very first tournament from the War E Cup that they joined. I think it fits them somehow, yeah, in the current roster. That, yeah, that's what I feel. And also DRG have a new players, even though that we don't know if he will continuously working as a duelist, and if he working as a duelist, what role will other players take? Like Luke is the former duelist in this team. Yeah, so I kind of, and other teams seems really quiet. Yeah, and also TC. I think TC is really getting
TC.
the,
DC.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Titan Esports is getting the most like eyeballs in this off season roster movements, because Hardong and after joined
Wait,
them, and it's a huge news because uh I think for these two, Haldong still wants to play. It's very clear. He don't want to go to player coach's position. This at this stage. He
Mm.
still feels like there is some fuse in his tank to play as player, and I do think that he's qualified to do that. He's still a very good IGL, and he could be the part that TSA that is really missing, because TSA is, if you're looking at the stage 2 of 2024, they are literally the bottom. I think they only
oof.
win three regular matches last year. So I once said to my fans, like, they are so low at 2024. So everything that they're going up from there is
Surely, there's
Yeah.
uphill.
only
It's
So yeah,
only
they
up
are.
from here.
Yeah, only
always.
uphill from there. So it's okay. I think they will be better anyway than 2024. So
That's
yeah,
interesting because they brought After from EDG in as the
yeah,
coach for
yeah,
TEC.
yeah.
What do you think that's gonna like? I mean, surely it can only go up, but like, will they go so far up as to join like next to EDG, something like that?
Next to EDG could be difficult, but because there are still a lot of competitors that look solid in the middle pack. But I do think that for TC, they do need a very good coach. And even though after is kind of like benched, I think in the later of stage 2 in 2024, but still I think he has the capability to make a team better, especially for a team that is TEC, that is so, how to say, that is so puzzled. Like, they don't know what to do. They don't know like
Mm,
how to make this team better. They don't know how to especially fit RB into this team, because
Right.
RB
just
is
flexible.
very clearly have the talent to do
Yep.
better, but he can't do better in 2024. The whole team is in a mess, and I think with, because Haolong and after working with each other for a long time, and
Hmm.
also Abo have a very good relationship with them.
Okay.
So this team kind of have the chemistry, and they don't have to have a lot of time, have to spend a lot of time into building chemistry. So
Mhm.
I think for them, it looks that they could have a very good start in 2025, and if my estimation is right, they could go into like the middle pack, and if they really doing a good job, they could go to like the edge of going into maybe one international event. I don't know. Yeah.
I like
Cool.
that. One question I have is, in terms of
Mm-hmm.
talent as players, do you
Yeah.
think right now it's kind of equal, or do you think there's a bit of a gap between like let's say the top 3 teams, the middle pack, and then the bottom teams? Like when you mentioned TEC being like one of the bottom teams this year, is it partly because of that talent pool, or do you think it's purely because of that? I wouldn't go so much to say as a mismanagement of the team, or lack of a coaching staff. So which one is it? Like, is it the players or is it mostly the coaches?
Well, it's actually two sides. Like I remember that I have some like a judgment like maybe a year earlier or maybe maybe 1 year earlier, like in 2023 or in the mid 2023 or later 2023. I said that EDG could dominate like the whole thing like maybe 1 or 2 years because it looks very clearly that they have the best player in the teams
Right.
that in
Right.
China. It's not going to be changed in a very
I see.
long time because first they are young and second they have proved a lot that they are the best players and there is a gap between them and other players.
I see.
Yeah, because when you have the best players in every position, in every role of this team, it means that this team should be good.
Yeah.
They definitely should be good. That's what happened with EDG. And also I think like uh, no matter like after Omago, they are also very good. They are both very good coaches, and that's why that EDG showed their dominance through 2023, 2024, and maybe even 2025. Because that if that happened, I wouldn't really be
I
surprised.
see.
Because that's what talent would that's what happened when you have really 5 good players in
Yeah.
their respective role. And but I do think that teams like TEC and also there are other teams like Tyloo, teams like like who would I put like Wolves for last year. They should do better, but I think they didn't do really good because their lack of experience. The experiments in management, the experiments in coaching, especially because I think the general like the shortage of of players, of coaches, of all other positions in China, the shortage in coaches is the most desperate thing
I
because
see.
there aren't a lot of good coaches in China. And so you can saw that some teams are trying like foreign coaches in
Yeah.
China.
Yeah.
Like
Fade.
Fade,
Like Fade. Yeah.
is coming
Yeah.
back. So
Veil.
it's very normal because uh, China is really young in Valorant. VCT China is 1 year later than the other regions, so it means that the coaches need some time.
Yeah.
They themselves need to some time to be to know what they are doing and their coaching styles. So yes, yeah, I think some teams are really kind of fail because they don't have a very good coaching system in 2024. And I think with the time going, they could be better. Yeah, but when we are talking like if you want to compete with EDG's dominance, it could be difficult even
Yes.
when you have
Oh,
a good
damn.
coach because these 5 players are the best players
I
in
see.
their respective
Ever.
roles. And even like back in 2022, 2023, we already know that.
Yeah, we
And
saw that.
that is proven once. Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a super team for them, no? Basically,
Yeah.
EDG. Do you
Super
think? Yeah, I think
decent.
one way they could try and beat EDG is by having imports. Because I do know, like, Billy, they have Neff, for example, who's from Singapore, right?
Singapore,
So do you think if they added, kind of like how Japan, some like there was Scars where they had 2 players from outside of Japan, but technically we're still kind of part of Japan. Do you think that's the way a Chinese team could beat EDG within its own circuit? Kind of have imports? Will that even work, considering the fact that probably to get an import they have to speak Chinese in the first place?
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be difficult because there are teams that in China have imports. I think like I think for 2024 it's like 6 or 7 teams have imports or something like that. But it's you can see some of them really struggle. Like
Chinese first.
yeah. A lot
Yeah.
of teams are really struggle because just like TEC struggles a lot. even though that they have the imported RB from Korea, because and I think from EDG's experience that it's like we have the talents in China. It just takes your time, and it just takes you very good eyes to find the proper talents. Just like Simon, you got it from VCL, like VCL from, I think it's from VCL HK and some other regions. Yeah, because they saw the potential of Simon. If you're looking back into Simon's like stats when he plays in VCL, when he plays in other, like, how to say, in other tournaments, because actually Simon played in Evo series in 2023, in 2023,
Right.
later 2023. But if you look in his stats, he's not really that stellar, and that's why that when 2024 started, there is no team that immediately put him into franchising, because he's not really that kind of star player in Evo series. But anyway, EDG find that this is the player that they need for 2024 stage 2, and they put him in, even though that I don't expect it be so good, such a good like puzzle, such a good part to put into this team, to mix this team as a whole. Yeah, so that's why that I think imports is not really the solution to this, because if you want to be competitive, you could use use some imports to be, how to say, a bandits, to make sure that your team to be competitive immediately, especially like if you're looking into the Ascension in China, a lot of imports are in there, because a team
like
can
Crystal,
be
who won the whole thing.
Yeah. You can have 2 imports in Ascension, actually.
In Ascension, I see.
So basically, when you have 2 imports are more powerful. But when you go to VCT China, when you go to the franchising, when you go to the IL, you only have 1 import. You have to make some decision into who I'm going to keep, who I'm going to say goodbye. And when you have only 1 import, the influence of imports are severely crippled. And also, I think EDG has proved that, okay, just 5 Chinese is enough to not only dominate the region, but also to win international trophies. So, yeah, I think for these champions, it's really like it would put other Chinese team into some thoughts like, should we just keep relying on imports to make our team stronger, or should we go into finding the proper local talents to join our teams?
Yeah,
because it's just
it sounds like when we talk about Simon and how he integrates so well into EDG, it feels more like a foundation thing that EDG has, so that it looks kind of effortless for them to, I guess, induct Simon into the roster and then perform outrageously well in the international stage. So I think you might be onto something when you say the coaching thing in China is what needs to be solved right now, because EDG have proven that, hey, we have 5 Chinese players. We got a new player who didn't really show outstanding stats, but hey, he can win us champions. So maybe that's something that the other Chinese teams might have to look at. Like, how do they improve their scouting game? How do they improve their foundations and fundamentals? And then that could be, the system, exactly.
Systems over statistics, really.
Yes.
Because who would imagine like Simon, a player from Challenger, with stats that didn't, which is practically invisible, right? Like he's just another number in the sea of players in this region. But then he got into a team and he helped them win champions for the first time, even before Pacific gets to win champions, even though we're like 2 years ahead. That is outrageously insane.
When EDG won, a lot of people in Pacific were like, "Yeah, they're part of us." That's
yes,
our man.
we're Asian.
Come on.
I remember, I'm not sure where I saw it. Maybe on Reddit, where they were talking about Achilleos also.
Yes,
Achilleos. Yes.
Yeah. It's part of Pacific. Come on.
Yeah.
But,
so
that's a really good point. I mean, yes, the coaching
insight,
part.
Coaching part.
But I guess that then it kind of also makes me wonder, right? Yes, you can have, you don't want to rely too heavily on just pure data and statistics. But say you do bring in a coach like Fade, you want to have, or train up coaches at the very least to be able to scout for players like that. And when you bring in imports and players like that, like, what's the process of that like for Chinese teams, if you know, Alan? Like, do they have to know how to speak Mandarin or like?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's
for
pretty.
anyone who might want to, head
Does
over to
English
China.
comms even happen there?
I'm sorry.
Does English comms even happen with like teams that have imports
Yeah,
there?
some teams is having that process because there are some
Wow.
teams that is really like English comms. I remember that in 2024, like the stage two of VCT China, when JDG is kind of struggling. JDG is shuffling up their rosters and they trying to reactivate Stu to into a good game, trying to make him play more comfortable, and they go into like they put a mix like English Chinese comms and trying to make sure that Stu is in the same page with other players. That's normally what they do, or any other team will do if their imports can't really speak very good Chinese. And most imports in China will try to learn Chinese whatsoever. Maybe after some time, like if you listen to the comms of all gamers, like they'll be speak really good Chinese. They'll be Chinese is some kind of shocked me, like how can he be so good in Chinese? And yeah, it's really like not I think it's really an idealistic, the situation that the
Yeah.
team wants when they have an impulse. Because when you come in, you can speak Chinese or you learn Chinese to be to a standards that you could comms in Chinese. Then it's okay. And because I think if you like really relied on Chinese English mixed comms for a very long time, it's unhealthy for your team. You could have a lot of problem. Yeah.
I see.
It's
So
not
basically, if you want to go into China as a player, my suggestion is
time to
try
start
to-
learning
Time to
Chinese.
learn
It's really time to learn some
Chinese.
Chinese. Yeah.
It really is.
I
It
think,
could
I
be
think
difficult.
even
It could be difficult anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
even after when EDG won, a bunch of even rioters were like, "Okay, it's time to learn
Time
Chinese."
to
Yeah.
Jokes on you
Become a-
guys. I already know
it's-
Chinese.
It's become a meme that have a double meaning. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little
I
bit,
guess then-
Quack has saved a life because of his.
No, come on, we're not
the
telling that story.
saving a life story again. Very nice. Well, then I guess some players like in the challenger circuit have an advantage, especially if you come from a family background where you're like half or a quarter Chinese and then you speak Chinese.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like Delby, right? He's so he's from
Indonesian
part of
player.
Indonesia. I used to coach him, and he actually comes from a family that is half, well, no, not half, full Chinese, like a part of Indonesia where it's like a lot of Chinese people.
What do you
there,
call someone who's Indonesian and Chinese? Like, what's the word for it?
right? Indo-Chinese.
Indo-Chinese.
We call it Tindo,
Oh, okay.
Chindo.
which is
Yeah, 'cause
China,
here,
Indonesia,
for
Chinese,
Pinoy, we call it
Indonesian.
Chinoy.
Yeah.
So
Chinoy. There you go. Yeah,
Hey!
Tindo, Chinoy. There you go. Easy.
All right.
So yeah, Delby's at Tindo. He's almost pure Chinese, to be honest. So that's why he speaks Chinese so well.
I see.
Maybe this is a strategy for like Chinese teams to scout for these types of players who comes from
Yeah.
these family
Yeah, that's
backgrounds. So
true.
it's easier to integrate, right?
Yeah, it also
Yeah.
works for Chris. Like, yeah, because Chris also speak very fluent Chinese.
Oh,
Like,
I see.
yeah. Because
Okay.
even that he's from Australia, but he speak very fluent
Wow.
Chinese, and his name he even have a very good Chinese name actually.
Mm.
So yeah, so if you can have this kind of impulse, it's really good. Also, Neff
Yeah.
can speak Chinese very
Naf,
good.
yeah.
For
Yeah,
sure.
Neff,
Singapore.
even I think maybe his Cantonese is better.
It's
Yeah,
better.
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but
Okay.
anyway, so if you can have an impulse that can speak Chinese,
Yeah.
that is very good. Yeah.
Very good. Okay, there you go. Time to learn Chinese, guys.
Does it matter
Whoever's
what
watching
kind of
this.
Chinese? Like,
Uh huh.
or
Oh yeah, that's a good question. the
What
dialect
kind of
or
Chinese?
what
I
which
think
Chinese
um
language?
I think it's okay. It's kind of okay. If you there's only one situation that I think is really tough or trick or already tricky, that if you only speak Cantonese, but you can speak Mandarin, like any Mandarin,
At
then
all.
then you have to learn some Mandarin through your Cantonese maybe, because
Ah,
yeah.
okay.
It's still
Mandarin is
very
like
different.
priority.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
Mandarin and Cantonese is quite different from each
quite
other.
different. Yeah,
Yeah.
sounds different. Yeah.
It
Okay.
definitely is.
People say
That's-
Cantonese is harder to learn. Is that true? You think?
I don't know. It's kind of like there is not like a difficult one or
Right.
easier one.
It's just
like
which one you choose to
yeah,
learn, right?
Like,
Like,
it's that
okay.
which one you really know earlier, because
Right.
To
I think
speak, yeah.
for foreign players, yeah, a lot of them know Cantonese earlier
Right.
than Mandarin. Yeah.
mm,
Okay.
It's almost like a different language on its own.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's,
yeah.
yeah. But you can like kind of translate some of it over to Chinese, I think. But it's
Yeah.
still
Some of them
different.
are common.
Yeah.
Some words or
Like
some
Le
sentences
Homo,
maybe
Ni Hao
are
Ma.
common.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
similar things like that.
You can try to guess even. Yeah.
Oh my
Okay,
god, no. I don't know how that would work. But yeah.
Did you
So
cast in Chinese, Quack?
hell no. I wouldn't even try. I'm so bad.
Ah.
I would only be able to say like, oh, Hunhao. Like that was a good shot. That was it. That's all I can do. Any like roster mania rumors that you could possibly share, Alan? Because last week we did like the whole not last week, but 2 weeks ago we did like a CSI thing, like comparing the announcement picture to who the player could be. Is there anything that you could share about, some of
Our
the
orgs teasing stuff?
orgs like
I think for
guessing?
now it's not really teasing. I think BLG is finding their fifth players, something like that, because
Okay.
there's clearly a vacant there.
Who did they
And
remove?
I think
FPX also.
FPX also, but the rumors I think is like maybe Yosemite will go to FPX, but that is already like reported
Yeah.
by, I think, by Tammy, yeah, something like that. And for BLG, they found new players in China, which they just got it out, I think. Yeah.
Sorry, who did they remove? Who did BLG remove for their fifth?
Flexing lives. Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. So they need a fifth, and I think Levius won't they won't have Levius on their stat rosters. So yeah, so
I
Levius.
see.
they need a fifth, I think.
Do we know anything about the like new Chinese players that they might be picking up for BLG or?
To be honest, I don't really know that players. I only have a name. It's kind of like Lucia or Lucia.
Lucia?
Yeah. But I know nothing about him, because
This is like
it's
a new
just a new
rookie.
player. Yeah. It's a kind of a new. It's kind of a rookie.
So not
From
even from like Evo series or anything at all.
Yeah. To be
Wow.
honest, I kind of can't. Hey, if I didn't heard wrong, he's just got 18. Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
So now he
rank
can
demon?
compete.
Is he like a
Yeah,
rank
so
demon?
now he can
one of those?
compete.
Is he like a ranked demon? I think blackenBlue was asking. Like he
Not
was he really
really.
good?
Not really. Yeah.
Just
Okay.
scouted
Just
from
like
nowhere.
very like, I can't say weird pick, but
But it is a weird pick.
Alan's questioning the decisions made over there. So
I mean, if we really, don't know anything about them, it's like hard to say, right?
yeah, it's hard to say
until we see something
until
happen.
we see them play. Yeah.
Cool.
But is it part of the process for some teams, Alan? Like they look at the leaderboards in the game and pick out players from the top 10 maybe?
Well, I guess they will definitely will look at the ladders
Right.
somehow, but I don't know how much they will take that, because
Okay.
for now a lot of teams in China, a lot of partner teams in China, like franchising teams in China, they do have their own pool of like scouts or something like that. They do
I
have their
see.
second team or some things like academy teams or like
Right.
something like that. Like even though that a lot of them are online, it's not really boot camp or something, but they
Mhm.
do have their pool of talents, and so
That they scout from.
Okay.
yeah, so they won't really take ladder too much.
I see.
If they find someone that they think have the potential to join them, they would do that earlier. Yeah.
I see.
Okay.
So has
Mhm.
there been any case of like a rank demon that's been,
Rank demon?
circulating in the community, and then suddenly, hey, here he is in a team?
For now, no. For now, the
No?
rank demon of China server are mostly like the players. The
Okay.
players right
Oh, I
now.
So
Because
see.
they already
It's
are.
just the
yeah,
players who are already on the teams.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, got it.
Is there? I assume there's a Premier League too, right? For China, like ranked Premier League. Is that a thing?
No, there is the premier
Oh, there's no
system
premier.
in China. Yeah, there is
Oh,
the premier system because just like I said,
yeah.
premier
Sylvia.
is kind of tier 3, right? So
Yeah.
Yes.
you through premier to VCL, VCL
Yeah.
is tier 2, and you go to VCT is tier
Tier
1.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
but for China national series, it serves as tier 2 and tier 3.
Oh,
So
so it's combined.
there
Mm.
yeah, it's kind of they have tier 3 that is completely open qualifiers, open to anyone
Okay.
that you can join, and
I
it
see.
even have the college college qualifier
Oh,
from the
wow.
university
Oh,
and
collegiate.
colleges, and yes, and they have then the national series
Mhm.
who will directly decide who go to the ascension, which is practically the tier 2. So
Okay.
so it's basically tier 2 and tier 3 altogether. Yeah.
I see.
How is the collegiate scene there? Is there like a actual recognized league for the collegiate teams, and do like universities do they have collegiate teams for them? Because like in the West, there's Red Bull Campus Cup. Here in the
Yeah, I
Philippines,
know.
obviously we have like every major school has a Valorant team. Is that true for China?
Yeah, so you can see that for the national series, it has the how to say qualifier that's set up for the college for the
Mm.
college part. So if you want to join, if you want to have a try, you can sign up with your classmates or something like that. It's practically working the same. Yeah.
Okay.
Imagine
Wow.
if we had that when we were kids, guys.
Dude,
Right?
bring me back 10 years. And with this
What was
scene,
that?
man. Oh, well. The train
There's
has
something.
left the station.
Yeah.
So we're
Well,
here yapping.
talked about the boot camp situation there. Would you say that like Valorant has brought like how is the boot camp situation in terms of Valorant? Because I know in SEA, to be honest, once Valorant popped off, it was honestly probably the most amount of boot camps I saw per country in the
Yeah.
region for an FPS bar none, like ever.
Yeah.
Is that true? I know obviously right there was an Overwatch League, there was Guangzhou, there was the Shanghai Dragons as well. So there has to be a lot of representation there, but how about Valorant? Has it really brought like the boot camp situation up in China? Is that a thing now more established?
You mean boot camps? You mean Teams boot camp or something like that?
Yeah, like Team
Yeah.
House,
Teams.
like gaming house, like yeah.
Yeah, of course. Like gaming house, PC bands like that.
No, like
No, no.
From the
the teams
players.
themselves.
Yeah.
The teams themselves.
When they
Okay.
provide a facility for the players
Yeah,
to
yeah,
be
yeah. And of course, I
housed.
think like before 2023, most teams, yeah, I can't say most teams, like only a few teams have their boot camps in China. A lot of
Okay.
teams just choose to because you don't have LAN matches,
Right.
you don't have official matches, so you
Mhm.
don't have to boot camp. To be honest, if you want to put your team just online and call someone in TeamSpeak and play matches, it's okay.
I see.
As long as you don't have connection problem or something like that. If you are fine with this, it's okay. But after like this thing is going to be published in China and the franchising is going up in China, like if you are VCT teams, you have to be boot camping. It's obvious. Like you can do this online, right?
Mm.
And
It's a
for
lot
other
more.
teams, I think is depending. Like I do know like for to be honest, like for example, like Ascension, um, most of the teams are like half or two thirds of the teams are having boot camps. for a very long time, like maybe through half a year or a majority of this 2024, because they know that if you want to really improve your level, really improve your possibility of going through the ascension and into the VCT, you have to bootcamp. You have to pay the price. Yeah. So I think that for China, if you want to make it serious, if you want to really have the chance to make it big, to especially make it through ascension and become a franchising team, you have to bootcamp. It's just depending on how long, like when you want to bootcamp. How long do you want to bootcamp? Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I guess that just about covers most of, I think, roster mania stuff. We're still waiting, I guess, for some of the announcements, like official announcements from most of the
When does
teams.
it usually start, Alan? Like a
I
month
kind of
before,
don't
a
know
week
because
before?
yeah, no, it's not gonna be that late. It's not gonna be that late. But
Okay.
I don't know. It looks like to me that there isn't a specific date where you have to announce.
Ah, right.
Like yeah, it's really depending on the strategy or your team's wish when you want
Okay.
to announce that. Like TEC, they announce it very early
Yeah.
when they make it sure. So it's really depending on. But I do know that a lot of teams are still doing tryouts. They
I
are still
see.
not sure
Okay.
like who we really want or something like that, because there are still some off-season tournaments like World E Cup is just ended, and like
Yeah.
FGC is coming up, and I think maybe a lot of teams will use these tournaments to make sure they have the
Try out
best
stuff.
fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Fair.
Yeah. Any like off-season tournaments apart from the ones that you just mentioned that we should, like keep our eyes out for? Because I know there's the Radiant Asia Invitational.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's where we're going.
It's a huge one. You're going, right?
Yeah,
Paper
I'm
X.
not going, but Paper X is.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
I'm not
It's
going, but Paper
it's
X
a
is.
huge thing, to be honest. If you like, if you think this through, you have from 2024 3 championship winners. 2 of them are invited into
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
tournament. It's gonna be huge.
This
It's
one's
gonna be a
be
really
for sure.
really big tournament and really good tournament, to be honest. So yes, I think this tournament is one of the most important like off-season tournament in not only in China but in the whole Asia, because it's, to be honest, it doesn't feel like an off-season event, and
It
I do
doesn't.
feel
Yeah.
yeah, and I do feel like a lot of teams will treat this really seriously.
Okay.
Like if like I have heard something like EDG may go to the the GS in Korean. They won't go there with their full roster. They will have someone subbing in for
Right.
yeah. But for this Radiant, for this Asian Invitational, I don't think so. They will definitely have their 5 starters
Full
on
power.
Yes.
on this tournament, because it's very important. It means something, and yes, I think it's kind of very huge event.
Okay.
And also another thing is FGC, because FGC is starting. I think it's starting. It's starting tomorrow. And FGC is starting tomorrow, and FGC is actually a very like it's actually reminds me of a lot of things, because if you go to very early days of China thing, and
Wow.
when the thing is not really published in China, when the game is not really official in China, FGC is there, so it's kind of reminiscent for me. And
I
also
see.
FGC including most teams in China, and there
Yep.
will be I think it's you can keep an eye on it yet.
Cool. So it's FGC and the VALORANT Radio Invitational,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
basically a big event on its own.
Good.
Very cool trailer, by the way, that they put out.
Yeah. It's a very interesting trailer.
Awesome stuff.
Okay.
Um,
Getting hyped.
Yeah, a lot of stuff to look forward to, and to watch how the teams like shape up now, especially with like some of the roster shuffles. But moving on from that, I guess like maybe a final topic before we let Alan go off. We have the Game Changers China that just recently wrapped up. right? How you were casting for that? How is that whole event? How are the teams?
I think the whole thing is really like refreshing our minds because from my perspective, I don't expect that a lot that much of amount of new talents that is popping up in China's game changers scene because maybe like before we will expect that Twist Esports is really strong because Twist Esports gets the players from the former CCG, the former EDG, but you can see that the grand finals of game changers in China is really showing a good gameplay level, and a lot of players have very good aims, very good comms, and some beautiful strategy as well. So generally speaking, I think compared to last year, of course, this year Game Changers China is a lot stronger than last year, and also like I think like some import players from SEA is really
Muffin.
improving.
Yeah,
the,
Muffin.
I think they improve a lot in the call outs and also
see.
in the strategy part because they have experience in a lot of different situations, also in a lot of tournaments, and also I think they have the experiments into hyping each other to vibe in the team because they have go to Berlin last year and they know what it feels like to be
Right.
when there is an audience, when there is a stage, because the grand final is having an audience and a stage. So I think that's why that ALG wins the whole thing because they have the players who have audience who have the experience, and they have the players who have very good aims, and their strategy is good. And although I think they have some improvements space, of course, because the comms still need some improvements. And I do think, to be honest, it's not gonna be very realistic for them to go like, oh, we are going to get the championship
Berlin.
in the championship game changers because I think there is still a gap, to be honest.
I see.
But I do think that gap has been shortened if we compare it to last year, because last year I think it's very clearly like when like EDGS and when the teams are going from East Asia to the championship, they get completely dominated throughout the process. But this year, I do expect they could do a lot better and show their perspective of how to play game changers in their way. Yeah.
Oh.
I assume
So-
they come in English, right? ALG, considering they.
Yeah. ALG is coming in English, and so that's why that sometimes when I heard their comms, it feels like still how to scrappy, and sometimes in the mass it's very
room for
natural
improvement.
because just like I said, game changers team in China, they don't have a whole year schedule. They don't have 2 or 3 split to grind it out. They only have like maybe 1 or 2 months to have a boot camp to really grab the whole thing in a very short time. So it means that these things has to be scrappy, and so there is some improvements needs to be made. Yeah.
Is it just
Right.
one tournament? I'm looking at it, and I think it's just one.
It's just
big
one tournament.
game
That's what.
in
Yeah.
the year, right?
There's only one qualifier that's for this thing.
Crazy.
That's why.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's why this qualifier is really huge, including like 16 teams. Because
Right.
if you have like 2 or 3 splits throughout the year, you don't need the qualifier that huge.
Man.
Yeah, so that's why that I think for the teams that's the most difficult part, because you don't have the environment to scrim, to compete normally throughout the year. You only have a very short time to know how good you are, how good your opponents are, and it could be very difficult. Yeah.
But how's the viewership for Game Changers there compared to at least T2, right? To the VCL. How is the viewership of Game Changers? Is it on par at least, or
Comparable?
is there a really big gap?
There is some gap, I think. But if you compare, there's no VCL in China, but if you compare it to like national series in China, it's not that huge. Like
Okay.
I think if you compare it to
So
national series, okay, it's okay. It's like comparable thing. It's like
Hmm.
comparable gap
Okay.
between them, and
but I can see how this really would affect like the the team's preparation going into Game Changers
Yeah.
Championships.
yeah.
You
So-
did nothing for like 70% of the year. And then-
Yeah, and then like
Yeah,
to
dude,
cram
it's
everything
tough.
right now.
Yeah,
But
that's why that most teams in Game Changers they won't have they even won't have a team for like the first
Yeah.
half of the year. They
Yeah.
only try to prepare for it in the latter half of the year, because that's when that this whole qualifier is going to start. Yeah.
But the players themselves, do they like, practice on their own without having an
Yeah,
org?
they need to, if they
Yeah,
it's
they have
depending
to
on the
keep
player.
up, right?
If you
Yeah.
really have a very competitive mindset, I really want this thing to be true,
Yeah.
and or if you have a team or a few teammates that is really grinding out with you,
Mm.
then maybe you can try some screams to find some screams with some teammates. But if you don't, then it's very difficult. There are a few teams that is really starting earlier, like I think for like Trace, for ALG, this starts quite early, but even for them, it's not the whole year thing. Yeah.
that's
Wow.
rough.
That's
But
rough.
all the best to the girls. I mean, ALG, GC going into Berlin. I mean,
Mhm.
hopefully, they'll still at least be able to make it through some of the early stages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's going to be a pretty interesting tournament as well, coming up in the next few weeks.
Yeah.
Yep. Very
Yeah.
exciting.
Buddy.
Oh my gosh.
Familiar faces, huh? Quack.
A lot of familiar
A lot of familiar
faces.
faces. Yeah.
I actually
Okay.
watched the Game Changers grand final of APAC.
Fujitsu?
Zipto
Zipto
versus
and Zeta.
Zeta. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
versus Zeta. It's really.
Oh.
I think Zipto is looking scarier than last year. Than
Yeah.
last year.
I agree.
I agree.
Hopefully.
I
What was it,
agree.
like 30 straight maps this year or something?
Yeah.
29?
No losses
31?
It
or
looks really good, like compared to last year's Team SMG, and even like, and if you like taking into last year's Team SMG's performance, I think they are like what top 4, top
top
5,
4, I think.
yeah,
Yeah,
top 4.
if I'm not
Then
mistaken.
I think this year, I think Zipto could be something like in the championship.
Hopefully.
Ooh.
Yeah. I mean, they're still gonna have to go up against, Shopify and
Shopify
G2.
Rebellion.
Yeah.
Of course.
But
Probably because they're not
hopefully.
beefing anymore.
well.
Gonna be
No, but I think, I just wanted to quickly touch on that. I think
Mhm.
this year's main reason for Zipto's dominance, I think
Oh,
is a
yes.
step up from Alexi. I think she's been phenomenal this year. Like, just looking back and watching back some of the rounds and games they played against all these other teams, I think Alexi has showed kind of an immense growth in her gameplay. And
She's the
her,
AIGL, right?
if I'm not mistaken, either Alexi or is
I
it
think it's Tara,
think-
actually.
Tara? Yeah,
Tarathiel.
Tarathiel.
I think
yeah,
Alexi's like the
the
team capped, but Tara's
Right,
Yeah,
right.
IGL.
team captain on
Kind of like
IGL.
a little bit.
Yeah, but then her combined with the Neri on the duelist is just bomb.
The synergy is really next
Yeah.
level. Because
You can see it outside the game too, right? Like they
Well,
just
that-
bond.
But that's
So-
why they're able to carry that into the game.
Exactly. So okay, very excited for
Very
Zipto
cool.
and obviously from our Chinese
I mean,
counterparts.
I,
as
I
well.
wrote a whole article about them being best friends.
Yes. Yes.
They very damn well be.
Ginny and Muffin as well, ALG, I think.
Yep.
There's a lot of potential.
It's
Not
nice-
easy, definitely.
It's
but-
nice to see ALG at Game Changers Champs because of that, because of the fact that, like the whole kind of, they used to be an X10, which is a team that did beat an Ares team back then.
Yes, that.
And they
The
were
rivalry.
always bitter rivals, so it's like they're seeing each other again, but this time with them on ALG in the grand final, or rather in the Berlin Champs,
Championship. Yeah.
it's a nice full circle moment, I think.
But the fact that you have I think it's Yusin who's returning from last year's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
EDG into this year's
Yeah.
Game Changers Championships as well. Hopefully it'll be better results. But otherwise, yes. I mean, they are facing some challenges, but we'll
Yeah.
see what happens.
It's like
So-
one whole big reunion. It's so nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always coming back into
And I
it.
think for Yusing, she also like because she's the only one that from EDGS that going back into championship this year. So it's really there is something on his on her back, and I do think that she do want to prove that not only her but also her former teammates wishes to go further in the tournament. Yeah.
Yeah, that's quite a bit of pressure.
Yeah.
Hopefully, all the best. I think with that, we have come to the end of like our little segment with Alan. Do you guys have any final questions? No.
I just want to say I think it's we've been enlightened today, Alan.
Yes.
So thank you very much. Now I feel like I know a whole lot more about China.
I learned a lot about the casters
a lot, and the casters
Yeah.
scene as well. And I'm sure this is not going to be close to the last time we'll be talking to you
Yes.
about
Yeah,
China, especially once the season starts. We're going to do this a bit more often. So
Hopefully.
yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
I do
think I
have
no problem.
one last thing that I kind of want to learn from Alan, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do we scold or curse in Chinese with like gamer terms?
Yeah, so
'Cause,
what's
you know,
the
I mean,
popular
Southeast
curses?
Asia?
Yeah,
Yes.
what's the popular curses in
'Cause
game? Like when
Filipino,
you have
we
like
have,
a stupid teammate.
we put tanks in malls. Indonesia, we
Tanks,
have
we have
Ngen-
dogs and
which means like
yeah.
stupid. How about Chinese? Because I've heard like, I don't know if this is really rude. So Johnny, please cut this out if it's really bad. Or
bleep
beep
it, bleep it.
Beep
Yeah,
it, yeah. I've
timestamp
heard
it.
like Shopee, right?
Okay.
That's one thing. And I've heard like the way you call someone noob in Chinese, it's like you call them
Yeah,
cai,
basically,
which
yeah,
is
basically
vegetable.
some things are common like noobs or something like that because it's in every language you will call others noobs. We want to
Yes.
mock others. We have to smear others. Yeah,
Yes.
that's normally.
But
what
how do we say that in like Chinese though? If we want to.
we want to say noob? Well, there is how to say there is.
I feel like he's
thing
going
that
through
is-
his mind. What's okay to say?
Well,
It's okay.
no,
We'll
no,
bleep it
I'm-
out if it's too sensitive.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's not really that rude.
Okay.
It's not really that rude, but it's also very interesting. In China, Thai means you are bad. You're really Thai.
Okay.
Thai means really bad. It's really you play
Really
really
bad.
bad. Your aim's bad or your move is bad or something like Thai. Okay, and there is another when you want to describe someone who is really Thai, is Ji. Ji is actually Ji means chicken.
What?
Ji means chicken in Chinese.
Okay.
You
Okay.
want to so normally when we the most normal description when in China, but also not really rude, not really somewhat some words you need to be blocked. The cai ji.
Okay.
Cai
Cai
ji
ji.
means this player is really bad. Like the kind of feeling that when I play in my Casters Cup, that I'm cai ji. That kind of feeling. Okay.
But
And also
the translation
also
is vegetable.
yeah, and also
chicken.
there is some like there is some other like other interesting smear or not smear
Okay.
or something like jokes like when you when normally when English in English we want to describe someone plays really bad, really like your moves is really dumb or something like you will see you are playing like a boat. Yeah,
Yes.
you are playing like a boat, right? I mean, in Chinese, there is a popular saying right now. If you think he plays like a boat, there is a 人机.
Renji.
人机 is actually means
Genshi.
so.
Huh?
The original meaning of 人机 means it's PVE. It's a PVE stage.
Oh.
Like, your enemy is the boat. You are in
NPC.
you are in the practice mode. Yeah, you are in the practice mode, and
Okay.
the enemy is 人机. So basically,
Okay.
there are these things that I think is not rude. It's
This is more of the family
apparently
friendly
not something
ones.
that you need to be blocked.
Yeah.
But anyways, it will trigger a lot of people. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
That's interesting.
right.
How do you
Thank
spell
you.
that? Sorry, Alan. Like, if
Renzi.
Juandi can
It's
maybe.
菜鸡和人鸡。
Well, the pinyin? How do you?
Yeah.
拼音人REN.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's GJI. Yeah, and it's should be like G. Yeah, that's it.
Something like that.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow,
So you're a
actual
drone.
drones,
Drone.
bots.
Bot.
So, yeah, so this is kind of meme because 人机
Okay.
is the original meaning of 人机 is G is machine.
Hmm.
So it's kind of means like robots or something like that, or
Right.
like
Machine
a drone,
person.
Like the bot in the
drone,
training
a
range.
drone, something like yeah.
Okay.
But then in gaming, 人机 means okay, you are so bad. Like I'm playing a boat. I'm versing a boat.
Yeah. Okay. We learned something
right.
new, guys. Yo,
Quack is
Sleepy, you're
about
such
to,
a Renzi.
Quack is about to terrorize the Weibo forums after this.
No, we need to go play in the Chinese servers. And
I
then
know.
just start calling people out.
There are a lot of Chinese players playing SEA servers.
Oh,
actually.
yes, that's
Yeah,
true.
a lot of,
Okay.
HK servers, Singapore servers, a lot of Chinese players
God.
going there.
Okay. So anytime we meet them, we know what to say, guys.
Yes.
Thanks,
We have
Alan.
learned something
That's
here.
really helpful.
And with that, I think we've learned so much now. We've
Yes.
learned the complete package from Alan. So thank you very much for spending time with us to
Thank you,
teach
Alan.
us everything about VCT China. Thank you so much, Alan.
Thank you.
No problem. I'm really happy to share anything with you, and if you, I'm even like more than happy to become more regular into
Yes.
talking with
Please.
you about maybe visit China or even the
sure.
whole
Yeah.
APAC thing, because I always feel like the whole Asian thing is some kind of closely bonded together, and yeah, I do watch a lot of tournaments in APAC. Of course including VCT Pacific. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Thank
we
you.
definitely needed to, especially because, I mean, Asia as a whole is already kind of mysterious to the West, but even more so China, and even to us
Yeah.
as other Asians, we're like, where do we even start? right?
What's
How do I even-
happening over there?
Yeah, how do we even
Don't know
find out about it?
Chinese.
So it's
Yeah.
really, it's a big thing to have you on here. So yeah, thank you very
Yes.
much for
Thank you
Okay.
very
dropping
much.
on the YAP2ASIA to yap with us.
Okay. No
And
problem.
hopefully not the last time. Our
Yeah.
second guest ever on YAP2ASIA.
Oh,
Round of
yeah.
applause.
No
Yeah.
problem.
Oh.
Big
All
thank
right.
you, Alan.
Cool. Thank you so much, Alan.
Okay.
We'll see you around.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So that's all from me. See ya.
See ya.
You. Bye, Alan.
Take care.
Bye.
All right. That was an awesome little segment interview with Mr. Alan Gai. Learned a lot about China. But
Was a
now,
little was a
well, a lot.
bit
We're going to
Renji.
come back straight. Yes. And what's the other one? Tai.
Thai. Yes.
And we got to eat some crab eggs with
Crab roe noodles.
crab roe
yes.
noodle.
yes, noodles.
So
So
that sounds like it would slap. Honestly.
it probably would. And after that, we come back straight into more APAC topics, I guess, with
Yeah, let's go.
starting things off, right? Valorant. We got VCL with
Yeah.
the Southeast Asia Split 3, and that's been
Mhm.
starting off. I think so far it's just kind of the premier teams going off against each other for now.
Honestly, considering this is on a new streaming platform,
Yeah.
the viewership was pretty good for a new kind of broadcast, quote unquote. You're
Yeah.
getting. I remember tuning in. It was like what 600-700, which is kind of in tune to what it was on Twitch back in the day when we were watching.
Back
when we
in
were
the
doing,
days.
SEA days. Obviously, some days were a bit higher back then. You'd see the thousands, but generally 700 wasn't too bad even back then. So now for it to be on like Soup, right, the new kind of streaming
SOOP.
service, SOOP,
Yeah.
not the Soup,
SOUP. No.
essentially, which is apparently a Korean word. I'm not
Yeah.
too sure what it means.
Oh,
but-
I'm not too sure about that, but yeah.
Oh no, I do know what it means. It means like forest or trees or something like that. It's like a slang term for it.
Oh.
But
Okay.
yeah, which is very impressive, honestly. The fact that it's a new streaming site and they have this kind of viewership, considering most people are kind of lazy to not click on a link if it's
Yeah.
on YouTube or Twitch. Pretty good.
Pretty good. Yeah. I guess one of the things that we might want to look out for are these actual premier teams that got promoted. And I guess there has been some promise, but I really want to just wait until it kind of delves deeper into the later stages of the split, and then we'll see what's up.
It's
Yeah.
definitely still really early on. I mean, some of the names, or at least some of the regions being represented, it's interesting to look forward to it. Mongols especially.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, apart from that, very appropriate statements so far.
Even from the get-go, I think Mongols were the team in my head that I was immediately drawn to based off of the Premier League teams, just because, the region that they're from, the Mongols from Mongolia, have always been kind of like a sleeper powerhouse region for FPS in SEA as a whole.
Always.
So
yeah.
It makes me just immediately drawn to watching them. So good that they qualified. They were the only team to actually qualify cleanly in the premier stage. You look at Group A, Overdogs, Chinggis Warriors, and Kadiliman, and they were all 1-1. It had to come down to a tiebreaker of barely. They qualified by +2, I think.
Yeah.
Overdogs +2 rounds. That's the only reason why they qualified.
Okay. Now here's the thing about Overdogs. All right. PaperX has a Susanto Leonhardt combination.
Right.
Overdogs has one as well.
Right.
So for those who don't know, in the team called the Overdogs, we have Alvin Susanto, and I can't remember what Aaron's brother names is, but he's also a Leonhardt. So this is a mini version of what we have in PaperX, but in VCL.
Mr. VALORANT was telling us.
Yes, Mr. VALORANT. Yeah. Who is Aaron's brother? His in-game name is blackenBlue. He has the Leonhardt blood.
People
and
are
Alvin
me about
Susanto.
that. Like,
yes.
blackenBlue,
exactly.
What? What?
And Alvin Susanto's in-game name is VS. So for those of you who are interested in the lore and the family lore, you just gotta look out for those two names, blackenBlue and VS. They are the brothers of Forsaken and Mindfreak.
And Alvin is the oldest Susanto brother, right?
No, he is actually the second Susanto. So it's Kevin, Excurid, VS,
Alvin,
Forsaken,
Jason,
and Jojo, who's probably going to be destroying all of us in like a few years.
That's true.
But yeah, for now, you get to watch VS, Alvin Susanto
I'd love to
together
see
with
them.
Golden.
I'd love to see like eldest and youngest together, on the same team. It would be kind of like LeBron and his son.
LeBron and Bronny. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure it's gonna happen one day, even if it's just for a fun match or a show match.
Yeah.
And then that could be cool. And
Indonesia should totally have a show match like that, like all
I think so, dude.
together.
No, because we have a lot of brothers playing in the circuit. Like even Flip Jider from RRQ, XRQ also has a brother competing. Obviously now we have Jason and we have Aaron with their brother. I'm sure there are some other names. I don't know if you know Mr. Juandi. But yeah, I think we should have a familial, like family feud Valorant version. Just literally just family versus family. Who knows? Maybe we can get the dads and moms in as well.
Yeah, that's actually.
Here's another sibling connection. NDG, like former.
Yes.
NDG.
Yeah, NDG.
His sister is Piety.
On Game Changers.
Yeah. So there's that too.
Damn.
Yeah.
Crazy, right?
I love it.
Meanwhile, my siblings are all bums. I'm kidding.
Yo, blackenBlue siblings, if you're watching this, you're a bum.
You know what he thinks about you.
It's okay. I'm the eldest. I can roast him.
Oh, right. Okay. Privileged. All right. Okay. So yeah, Premiere.
I guess that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not too bad for Premiere, but hopefully we do get to iron out some of the logistical issues, see other challengers teams, like especially from Split 2, because they should be there.
Yeah, they deserve a place somewhere. So,
but that's I guess we'll look forward to like the third or second stage of Challenger Split 3 as well, because that's when you have some of the other top seeds coming into play with the Premier teams, and we'll see how that all shakes out. A bit of time has passed. We solved our CSI mystery.
Yes, we did, and we were right.
We were right. Paper thin, you guys.
Damn.
It was the center part.
So
it was
smart.
here.
I wish we could do more. I just
Yeah.
want to be entertained. But yeah, now that we've seen that we are right, we've also seen further announcements. Like for example, ZmjjKK coming in with some of their pickups. I wish we had Paperthin here now.
Yeah, dude. He's probably gonna have a lot to say about this.
Not very
Yeoman-
familiar with Yeoman.
Can we
Not
very
call a
familiar
friend
either.
Is that available?
Who?
He's probably like busy
Oh,
catching some smokes being thrown down and some gunfights happening. But yeah, not familiar with Yeoman, not gonna lie. But excited to see that they actually did pretty well. In the last tournament they played.
very, very well.
Very, very, very well.
Yeoman from Nangshin Red Force, which
Yep.
has been, a really big team for the challenger scene in Korea.
Mhm.
So I guess he just kind of fit in like a glove. I'm a little bit curious about how Foxy9 was fit into
dude,
Gen
like-
as well. They
That
had
was
that
really
little video with Mako and
Mako, yeah.
yeah, Vayne, I think, and then the
Mhm.
jerseys, and they're like, "Excuse me, you're joining Genji now? Do you want to get beat up?" But
They
hey,
have,
he beat
they
them
have,
up.
like, what? 3, 4 duelist players? 3.
Yeah,
No. So
texture, Foxy maybe a little bit.
Foxy.
yeah, Foxy a bit back in the day. He was playing
Yeah.
Jet a bunch. And then obviously Human kind of also flexes into Yoru
Little
every
bit.
now and then too. So there's a lot of potential there to really shake things up, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Genji. And they did win the whole 10 Valorant
They won the whole
Invitational.
damn tournament, dude.
It seems like it's kind of akin to what I was talking about last time we had this episode, where you see in a lot of these kind of FPS, kind of class-based FPSs, where initially there's specialists, right? There's players who are only smokes and only duelists and only that, and then as time progresses, teams just keep on getting the aggro duelist role and then teaching them how to play utility, because it's easier to teach a duelist how to play utility over teaching, I guess, a smoker or an innie how to aim good, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
we
think
start at the bottom, right? We start with the fundamentals.
yeah, you start with somebody with good firepower, then teach them
yeah.
the rest. And I
It's
guess
a
that's
shooting
what-
game. You gotta shoot first, and then
Yeah.
util later. So
They did lose to DRX 11-13 though, Genji, in one of the
It's-
earlier stages.
well,
so
yeah. But they still
interesting.
won.
enough.
They still
Yeah,
won
they won at the end.
the tournament.
they
I
did.
think more interestingly, at least if we're, talking about the 10 Valorant Invitational,
Yeah.
Talon has been looking pretty sick.
Primy is looking like the real deal, man. for
Yeah.
that team. He's been a really good pickup for them, I think.
I did include a clip where Primy picked up an ace against DRX.
Mm-hmm.
Really short clip because he aced them in I think it was 3 seconds, according to the Reddit post. But yeah, basically the clip was just DRX was trying to set up towards sunset around A main.
I mean,
And there was a flash, there was a recon, but Primy just held the angle.
Wait, I'm not sure if the stream is up, but I don't see the.
Yeah,
Mr. Joandi. And can I just say, the venue looks cozy AF.
Busan Arena.
Yeah, like every time they show the players, like, oh damn, this looks like it's in a sports bar or something. I wish we can do that more over here in Southeast Asia.
It seemed like
So-
the players really enjoyed the venue as a whole, like the tournament. Obviously, the stakes being a bit lower.
Less pressure.
Prize money is
Less
prize money
pressure.
nice, but it's not like people are gonna judge you and your whole person and your family and your goat, for losing the tournament. Because it's like you know how the VCT is. You lose, even your dog gets shamed, right? Even your pets.
Yes.
Even your
God.
goldfish. So it's nice that these players can actually play in a competitive setting without that kind of pressure. It seems like everybody's been tweeting about how nice the venue and the fans and the entire event generally was.
It could even be more productive to set it that way, right? Like give them less pressure, which means they perform more freely, and that means bring more of their potential. So hopefully that's what's being shown. And in the last tournament, and Genji came out on top. But the rest of the teams looks pretty solid too. Like you said, Quack, Talon looks pretty good despite not. They're one of the quieter teams together with Paperthin and Team Secret in terms of rostermania. Not a lot of movement,
I feel like
but obviously.
SEA as a whole has been kind of quiet this.
Oh
season.
yeah,
At least
Oh,
after
yeah.
last weekend, it's been very quiet.
It's been quiet.
We're starting to see the off-season tournaments come up as well. So
Yep.
some of them are playing in it now, or
Time to get
preparing
some
for the
results.
upcoming ones.
Mhm.
I think DRX with their 3 pickups also.
Yep.
It's maybe a little bit mixed. Like, is it Freeing, Hyunmin, and Ethan being picked up, and Hyunmin's the one playing the Jet, so it's clearly not the same DRX as before. But I think that's what the general sentiment is that if it always was the same old DRX, they would always have been kind of like stuck, like they reached their ceiling. So hopefully with these new 3 players, they continue to grow. I mean, 13-5 against FPX was pretty decent, yeah, in the quarterfinal. But then that whole Talon thing happened. So Talon,
Yeah.
I saw some of the comments on the Reddit thread, and it's just like, yeah, Coach Frost is going to be so happy. He's got so many things to say.
It is kind of expected though. Like DRX are a totally new team at this point, and
Yeah.
they weren't even doing that good, to be fair, with the old team up until the Champions actually tournament happened. So
Mhm.
we see this a lot where sometimes teams really struggle during kind of the off-season tournaments, and then since they're new, obviously, and then when you get into the international league, that's when you really see them find a kind of fix their groove. But I don't know, man. I think this DRX team is very new. I still don't know where to put my opinions on them. Like, I don't know how I feel about this team and if they are even going to be better than the other Korean teams in here. Definitely not Genji. I don't even know if they're going to be better than T1 at this point. So it's a very mixed bag. And over Simpriza, I don't even know, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Don't forget SPG.
Yeah, once they get into the
GG.
IL, it would be sad to say, but DRX, if it continues this way, they might end up being like the worst Korean team in the
Whoa.
Pacific League.
Oh, whoa,
And
whoa,
I
whoa!
hope it
Hold your
doesn't go there.
horses.
I hope it doesn't go there. Like, I trust Mako. I trust him a lot. But there's a lot to do with a new team with this short of a time span. You have 2 months to make it happen. I don't know,
Going
man.
from the
It's very
best to,
difficult.
yeah.
And
I mean,
Yeah,
hopefully Coach Termy still, handles
yeah, for
everything.
sure.
Ethan isn't even
Ah.
picked up permanently yet. It's just like standing for 10
Hmm.
information.
Yeah, it's just a stand-in.
Okay.
I hate to say it, but I'm gonna back you up there, Nico. I think they might end up, like you said, being the worst Korean team, but still being in the middle pack of the
Trust me,
whole.
I hate to say it. When Stacks
league.
kissed his mouse, so did I. Like,
Ah.
I love DRX. But, you know,
He's moved, brother.
Yeah,
He's
I know,
moved. It's
I
time
know.
for you to move too,
I know.
brother.
it hurts.
It hurts.
But yeah, so that's DRX.
Very true, very true. But yes, that
Yeah.
is DRX. Moving on from that, I guess back towards like the Southeast Asia side of Pacific. We have heard stuff from Global Esports a little bit, or maybe just a little bit, and then Boom as well announcing their final player, which I know Sleepy has some thoughts on. What do you think though? For Global Esports at first, we have, was it like Papi Chulo coming in?
Oh, say
Is
that name
that
again.
confirmed?
Say that name
I think
again.
it's still rumors, right?
No,
Not
Yeah.
fully confirmed yet.
I will leak it.
But if it is,
You will leak it.
Oh, he's gonna leak
What?
it.
No, I'm kidding. No, I think
Okay.
it is. We
If
can
it
assume
is,
it is because
we can
even
assume
he
it.
was like posting contract
see the
signed,
tweets.
the gift, right?
But
All of it.
until it's fully announced, so we'll just
Until it's
treat it as,
fully announced.
as a rumor still.
We will pretend that it's not, just for the
Okay.
sake of the fact that it's not technically.
Okay.
But I mean, if it is
If
true,
it is,
they get, who is it? They get Papi Chulo. They get this guy called Yocam, or Patrick Watson as his other name, and then they got Kelly S. And so the one name there you guys are probably familiar with, right? Papi Chulo, the goat, the man, the
The
daddy
goat.
of it all. And then you go into this Yocam kid, and this dude has honestly given me flashbacks of a bygone era of Valorant. The way he plays Jet, just demon Jet. Remember when like Tens was destroying every NA team in
Yeah.
in the VCT back then. Even when he was in Cloud9, you could tell that he was great, but the team wasn't winning. That's where YoCam is. He was like that Tenzin Cloud9 where his team wasn't winning, but he was absolutely destroying every single player on the server, and he would have immaculate game sense that people honestly thought this guy was cheating. Honestly, there were players in the league who thought this guy was hacking just because of how great his movement was and just because of how great his gameplay was. And so there was just in the one stage of the VCT Philippines that he played, he gave some of the best highlights we've seen in the entire 4 years it existed. And that was in a span of 1 or 2 months. He already gave us some of the best highlights ever in the entire span of the VCT PH. So there's definitely a lot to be said about this guy. I think he's a ranked demon that will impress a lot of people. I don't know, though, if Global Esports as a team will actually work. If the team will win, that's the thing. The players individually, great. But will the team win? Very questionable for me. And then you look at Kelly S, the other Filipino team they played. And so at this point, this team might as well be a Philippine team, right? Global Esports, thank you very much. But Kelly S is a player who is actually been kind of tied up with the names of such as Wild Oreo for a long time. He's been tied up with the names such as Envy for the long time, and names such as 2GE as well for a long time. They've been in the same generation, and he was always in that conversation of, is he the best duelist here? Is it EJ? Is it maybe, somebody like Jeremy from the Philippines? He was there, and he has a lot of flexibility around him too. He's played other roles, although ideally his best role really is the Raze. That's where he's made a name for himself. And that does kind of make me wonder if he will be taking up the duelist role here. I don't assume you'd put anybody on this roster as a Jet over this YoCam / Patrick Watson guy. I don't doubt that he's probably going to be the duelist in this team because that's what he's really shown to only be able to really play for the most part. Although he's played smokes in the past, but yeah, I think Kelly S is probably going to be kind of like their flex. They're going to have him on like a KO or something like that. Maybe a second duelist if they need a raise. But for the most part, it's going to be YoCam, Patrick Watson, that guy, 2 names, 1 man. Why not? Like Johnny Olsen, right? I think he's going to be the star of the show here for the most part in terms of being that duelist up front. Papi Chulo will do Papi Chulo stuff. He's probably going to get us some of the best clutches again, once again for the league.
Yep.
And it's about damn time that this dude is made, the
big names, the big leagues,
the big scene. Yeah, because I've been watching him ever since he was with like Dispenser and Wits back in the old PS team for Bren, and he was always one of the standout players. Wits too as well was great back then as well. But Papi Chulo is still good even this far into his career, and yeah, it's a painful loss for Naos to lose him, to be honest, because everybody knows just how good he is.
Yeah, and we've been raving about him too when Ascension was happening. This guy, we need to put him into the big leagues, and just so happy that he's there now. So I have one question for you, Mr. blackenBlue. How does it feel like saying the phrase "Global Esports is my favorite Filipino team"?
I love South Asia so much right now. Thank you so much for taking my Papi Chulo man into the league, especially back then having everything, him kind of me coaching him and seeing just
he was in SBE, right?
Yeah, he was one of the boys on South Build. So just seeing his kind of progression, even from CS, Bren, and then this, and then South Build, and then now obviously Naos, and then Global Esports. It's about damn time that people know about this guy, and they've been hearing about him. They watch Ascension, and he's gonna be one of those players that I would love to watch more highlights of, but this time on the bigger stage. So yeah, Global now they've gotten a lot of Pinoy Pride fans because
Laban Piñas.
Will it be the right decision though in terms of winning? Big question. As much as I'd love to push it, I don't know. I'm still skeptical. I really am. International League is different, man. Competition.
Yeah, I think it's warranted. I think it's fair to have that assessment. Having seen GE in the past 2 years, I don't envy their position at all. And I guess they are trying new things now. With this new iteration of the roster, so hopefully we'll see some positive changes. But in terms of how far they can get, I wouldn't be over optimistic about it just yet. Not at least until we see them actually play. and then maybe we can make an assessment. So
I mean, we got to see like the whole coaching staff also. And
oh
then,
yeah,
like,
for sure.
Yeah.
if they can stack up against like Team Secret. But for now, still rumors for global. All right, not gonna.
Well, they added
Global.
Juvenile. I think that's
Hey,
kind of
global
confirmed,
coaching
right?
experience, by the way, Filipino as well.
It's a little bit of something. Yeah,
Yes.
Juvenile.
Right, Juvenile.
But for now, that's just global esports.
Who are the other
still
players? They keep Polvi still, right?
Is that true?
I don't know yet.
He's technically still on this roster.
Right,
They
he's
have
not
let him
inactive.
go.
He's not moved out. So okay,
We'll
interesting.
I
Huh?
think they announced someone else from SEA as well, but not
I don't know.
Filipino.
I don't
Or
think
rather the rumors.
So. Well, not yet.
No, not yet.
No.
Just still cooking. Still cooking.
Still cooking. All right.
Someone who's already cooked though. Sleepy.
Yes.
Esports. Please take it away.
Well, I think the whole Indonesian fandom for Boom is kind of on the spectrum of saying that Boom kind of overcooked with this a little bit in terms of the announcement. I think they just took a little too long. They took their sweet time announcing this guy. And so people were kind of already expecting it. They've heard leaks about it. So when the
I
announcement
see.
actually came, it just kind of didn't have the impact that they would probably hope for.
Elvin.
But in terms of
the
the player, though,
talk.
yeah.
Yes.
In terms of the player, though, I think this is a great pickup. We did talk to Gary like a few weeks back
Last episode.
about how, last episode
Trialing
about
players.
how import players are affecting comps, right? I'm not too sure what the conversation was back then, but it was around, these players are comfortable speaking Indonesian for a long time, and so maybe it's not a great idea to kind of disrupt that. But at the same time, it's only a 1-year period for Boom in the VCT international leagues, and so they cannot pull their punches anymore, right? So they have to kind of invest in a talent that they think is worth it, and DOS9 is the name that they came up with. And so I think the decision to get this talent at this level kind of supersedes that need of speaking and calming in Bahasa Indonesia. And so now I think they believe that calming in Indonesian only is kind of overrated. And I think I saw a tweet from Gary saying that, it is overrated because when you're actually playing the game, you don't even calm that much in your native language, right? Especially like us in Southeast Asia, we're kind of
It's
built in into our blood
Yeah,
at
like
this point,
Heaven,
speaking in English.
Jenny,
Exactly. We don't call like all these different spots by their equivalent in our native language.
Yeah.
That would just be weird. So we're already doing that, and so might as well, right? So in terms of the player, I love this pickup. We obviously saw how much potential this guy had when he was playing for Revenant back in Ascension. People were hyping him up, and I think it was warranted. And I guess the question that people still have is it worth replacing ZmjjKK for DOS9, right? And that is a question that we can only wait to answer, unfortunately. Because obviously ZmjjKK, he's played in Indonesia before. He does speak a little bit of Bahasa, so maybe there's a bit of a better chemistry there.
He played well in the grand final.
He did. And DOS9, totally new. Hopefully there's no issues with visa and immigration, because that would suck. And I'm actually rooting for this guy.
He's from Kazakhstan.
He's from Kazakhstan.
I'm not sure about the kind of visa,
discrepancies
there.
Yeah, their passport strength, like how strong is it, right? Like we don't know.
up.
But I think it should not be a problem. So now it's just about him mending or at least blending into the roster. I think that's the biggest question. Yeah.
Passport wise, think Pacific. We got Ilya, we got something.
Yeah.
So hopefully
Shouldn't be a problem.
Should be all right.
And Boom is a big enough organization to
Yeah, and Gary has had a lot of experiences with
a lot of
foreign
history
players, right? So he's been through this, just going through the motions. So
yeah,
excited for DOS9, man.
Yes, and for Boom, hopefully be able to see more of them soon.
Yeah.
But people that we have seen already so far, and I think this will be our final topic for the day. It's the Red Bull home ground, APAC.
Yes.
And we saw some familiar teams, but with their new rosters. And we also saw pretty cool stuff from Japan. Like that's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
shall
wait.
we-
In the last episode, did we already know that Buzz was joining T1, or was that after?
It was a rumor, but
but
it
it's
was
not
announced
confirmed.
after
Right?
it,
And then he
yeah.
got announced after Meteor
Yes,
was announced.
yes.
So this roster is stacked AF, dude.
T1.
Holy T1. And obviously they won the whole thing.
Yeah.
And they did look kind of shaky at the start, but they
Mhm.
kind of just figured things out, and they are looking like the team that we all expect them to be next year. And I don't think that's going anywhere. So
Yeah.
Probably not.
scary shit.
3-1 against Zeta in the grand
Mhm.
final. I mean, they
Mhm.
originally dropped the map to Zeta in the
Yeah.
early stage. So the way that they kind of just flip things around is pretty amazing.
Yeah. And then
This is,
Zeta themselves, right?
This is quickly looking like old DRX, but with a new brand of it. You got Stacks, you got Buzz. you know?
Some different players, yeah. Izu, I think, was one of the bigger names.
Yeah.
Meteor as well. It's like combining. Maybe this is the new Korean super team that everyone wanted for T1.
Definitely, they are the super team right now, and I think a lot of people share that sentiment. But I have a bit of a cautious mindset when it comes to super teams because they rarely work the way people hope them to, with the exception of maybe teams like Fnatic for 2023. Right? They are the super team. People know they are the super team, and they did perform up to that standard, except for champions. But yeah, I just have a bit of a worry about this, but seeing how they perform at Rebel, that's kind of showing some promise.
I mean, I can see where you're going with this because we didn't see T1 versus Genji, for example. Not yet, right?
Exactly.
So it's still a little bit on the fence, but so far so good.
So far so good.
It's just a question of whether or not they can like stack themselves against something like Genji, because
like
Genji still is
the upper echelon of the brackets in Pacific, right?
No, let's
And
put it on paper now. Do you guys think at the end of the first
Yo.
stage season, do
okay,
you think that T1 is going to be above
Just-
Genji?
Look at this guy, just throwing it down there. I mean, I don't even know what the patches are gonna be for like next year.
No.
Is Neon gonna be nerfed? Are they gonna?
yeah,
play more Neon?
that's what's going through my head right now, Quack, right in
Ooh.
my mind.
Because I don't know.
I don't think it's gonna affect these two teams too much, to be honest, because they don't run Neon
Not that often, no.
like that often, right? They're not as reliant as maybe teams like SBG with Dambi on it.
But
So
Buzz
I would
does
say,
sometimes.
yeah, he does.
Yeah, but he's shown himself to be a great jet anyways in the past.
Yeah.
so.
That's right. He's an operator player, so he would go for those agents. So I'm gonna go with T1. I would say T1 will beat Genji.
Headlines everywhere. Sleepy thinks Genji was a fluke.
Sleepy.
And yeah, when T1 loses, they know where to get me. They know where to find.
Nice. The Jinx.
Yeah, the
We're
Jinx is
back at it.
lovely. God damn it. But yeah, I think T1's gonna get it.
What about you, Black and Blue? Since you asked the
My
question.
You ignited this conversation.
I'm kidding. I do think so. I am a Stacks X Buzz X Meteor supporter. So I would like for it to happen. I hope it does.
We'll have to see him.
Because I don't know. I think it's nice to see T1 finally be where they are because they're such a huge org. But then their Valorant side has kind of
They started kind of lukewarm. Not gonna
yeah,
lie.
like it was okay during the first year, and then the second year kind of fizzled out for such a huge org. You kind of expect a bit more. So if this is finally where they have like a bit more international outings, they did have some, but like it never really went anywhere. If they have a bit more of that deep runs in international tournaments, this is looking like the best team to do it so far for T1.
I think so. Yeah.
I'm gonna
On
stick
paper.
with Gen G then, I guess.
Oh,
Just to be.
Okay.
I mean, I still love
explain yourself, Quack.
Karon better than Sylvan. Ooh, that's just throwing that out there. I think Karon's always like just such a big name, big factor for Gen G. I mean, came out of nowhere, but he's just that good of a controller. I think at this point we have to say like he's better than Mako now. Maybe he's not IGLing,
Careful.
but as a controller player, As a controller. I mean, he's just like so good. He's
Yeah,
so
in terms of
sharp,
raw talent, I would agree.
able to clutch. It's insane. And then of
Yeah.
course, like when you still have Texture and Munchkin there, Foxy
Texture
9
over Buzz. Would you
that
say?
one is that's a discussion. That's not clear cut as the
Oh man.
previous one. But that's why I think, for now, there is a chance for I think T1 to overtake it, but otherwise it's generically really close between these two teams.
Yeah. I would give the slight edge to Texture if it's a head-to-head between him and Buzz.
Fair.
But overall, I think T1 is just overwhelmingly ahead in terms of raw combined power of the whole roster. Just my take. Don't quote me on this.
Well,
Actually, do quote me on this.
Yeah,
We'll see what
you're right.
happens next time.
And find me when you see them win.
We did say system over statistics, so
Yes.
There's that.
maybe the Gen G system could prevail still.
We'll see.
Fair.
HSK.
And I'm a Munchkin supporter because I've always been a fan since 2021 when we were scrimming against him. And he as a player is just so phenomenal, even back then. And he's still keeping up today. So,
Mechanically.
yeah.
I'm a big fan of Munchkins as well. The donuts.
All right.
Let's just double down on that statement from Joandy. I think next year is going to be the hardest year for any team to win in Pacific because every team is just so experienced at this point.
Can't agree more.
know they've had 2 years to kind of figure things out. Some probably slower than others, but in the end, they still have that 2 years experience under their belt. And this is the year, like, if you're going to go big, I think this is the year to do it. Because next year, if you're going to try in 2026 and only in 2026, that's going to be a bit too late. But this feels like a good juncture for that to happen, right?
Where you want
Like,
to start.
This is where you want to actually fire on all cylinders and
ramp things up and
Yep.
really get the core team in and improve.
Yeah.
I think that's what we're seeing in Red Bull Homeground because there's like so much to cover. We've got RRQ.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, slightly new changes, right? Like bringing in Kush, but also
It was a great debut game, by the way, from Kush. He got the
Very
MVP
big.
right from the get-go, showing promise, and it is kind of expected, but obviously kind of tapered off towards the end.
Yes,
But it is something expected. It's not unexpected, and we have kind of talked about Kush a little bit last time we were talking about them. He will need some adjustments, and he will need some time to kind of get used to this new environment.
But still a good
the
sign.
top. Oh yeah, for sure.
Still a good sign.
I think he is a good sign.
Yeah.
And RQ is actually looking pretty solid. Like
Almost beat Talon. That's what I wanted to.
that's the
I do-
keyword.
I like this
Almost.
RRQ team. I don't know if there's anybody you could justify removing right now.
Mm-mm.
Like
Yeah.
Australia, great. Jemkin, obviously keep him. Yet you definitely
Obviously.
keep him. Kush,
Really wanna see
good
him.
pickup. Zephyro, he did well last season near the tail end.
Yeah,
He's probably, unfortunately, I like him as a player, but if there was a chopping block, he might be one of the
He might
first
be the
there.
one.
But I don't think you remove him yet. I think you can keep him. He did not do bad during the series itself as a whole. So yeah, this RQ team, everybody here, pretty justifiable on where their slots are and who is playing on the team. I think you keep this till the end,
Yep.
or at least till the end of stage 1.
Yep.
Still
Yep.
good alerts. But that's
For
the
sure.
thing. They're still like quite neck and neck with like Talon right now. And Talon is already a team like they want to keep everyone there. Primi starting to prove himself a lot more.
Yep.
So very competitive scene right now. And then we talk about the Japanese teams, Zeta and DFM. Like we've seen some of their changes now. DFM, they beat Talent 13-10. It was the best of one though, but yeah. It's
Still, remember this season where they barely got the map? That's huge.
Oh my god. There is that.
Yeah, I don't know. I like this. I like this DFM team. Relatively, I think May is obviously one of the stars of the show when you look at DFM. Anyways, like automatically, just name wise. The rest of the team,
have, I think, yet to prove themselves to me. You know,
To me.
if it matters to me.
Me too.
It's like personal opinions. I haven't really figured out if like I like everybody else just yet and where they are. I think as a whole, even though Japan as a region is such a huge viewership-wise region, it's just kind of hard to find any players from their tier 2 scene that can super justify a slot in the tier 1. Like you rarely find, you know, Chichus and Smoggies there, for example, as compared to like Korea, which has such a much deeper scene. So it's hard. And everybody else who kind of wants to get to a T1 team from Japan would kind of rather go to Zeta, because Zeta is performing well right now, even though DFM is arguably the bigger org apparently. So yeah, it's really difficult to place DFM for me, but I do see the progress that they put in this off season, and I don't expect they're going to be a bottom of the barrel team next season.
Hopefully not.
I think they're going to be like middle of the pack, maybe a bit lower, but not bottom of the barrel like they.
So who are you saying is going to be at the bottom, BNB?
There's so many teams right now, dude. Boom is in there.
So many teams. You know who is?
Global. What?
He's definitely. Never mind. It's a bad.
You almost said it, man. I was. But yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's fair, though. I think, you know what's exciting about DFM is that now they're actually like, as much as it hurts to see them not grow in the past 2 years, but they have been sort of the only team that's kind of bringing in new talent, undiscovered talent. So on the positive side, I think this could be like one of those like miraculous surprises, anime storyline kind of stuff.
Hopefully.
Right?
I think
that would be sick.
Yes. Yeah. For now, it's still like jury's still out.
Yes, still out.
But the fact that they pushed Zeta to like 15-13 on the final map, that one's really interesting to look at. I think May slightly outperformed Depth there. So there's something to. I mean, again, it's all just progression for both teams.
Yes. If nothing else, there's May, right? So
always
we have him to.
I mean, Gen has been okay, like so far, but one tournament is just so hard to base off. It's so hard, especially for a team with an org with a record as they have. So it's definitely difficult to place them right now. But I think we've been pretty fair in our assessment from DFM so far.
Agreed. And Zeta got XQQ back.
As the coach on the stage.
But apparently he's an assistant coach, right? And we have Jonta. Who is a familiar name. He has been playing for Hellraisers in Counter-Strike. And so this is kind of what we talked about before. If you want to win in Valorant, you got to get a coach who used to be a CSGO player.
They also have Carlisle from Furia.
There you go.
So there, yes. But otherwise, the ones that's the stage coach, the one communicating with the players, still XQQ and everything. But yeah, always good points, and we will see what happens. Because for now, progression, but at the end of the day, it's still T1 on top, ZmjjKK on top of the other tournament. Who knows?
There's still two of them. I don't know, man. I think it wasn't fair for me to ask blackenBlue who's gonna be at the bottom of the barrel. I don't think any one of us knows. I think it's super hard to.
It is actually.
Decide
I know who's not going to win anything this year.
Bleed
Esports.
Your LED lights are red in the back, dude. I was like,
I better swap.
Waiting for you to say it.
All right.
Feels bad, but that is. It is what it is. That happens.
Sad for the players, really.
Really good for Boom, but yes, sad for the players. Still,
I'm a Crazy Guy fan just because of the. He's the only Vietnamese player they had, T1 scene.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Davai.
Yeah,
exactly. He's the only Malaysian. But
speaking of, that's another like slight rostermania thing.
What?
No news about PaperX at all. Are they saying? Is there gonna be any change? Not asking you, Sleepy.
I see lots of eyebrows raising.
Yep, there's.
I don't know. A jersey in the back.
I see your jersey in the back.
I'm changing my colors to orange.
Okay.
Purple.
Purple.
Yeah, I declined to comment. Anything I say can and will be used against me.
Will.
But that's why next year is going to be that much more competitive. You guys are absolutely right. Like everything, like who knows how Paperthin is going to play? Who knows how DFM Zeta will play? Also, we'll see.
I wish I can say shit about Paperthin.
We'll wait for the announcements.
Let's just wait. I don't
we can announce the Pulsar.
We're literally only 3 episodes in, so I guess we can say that. Like, we kind of teased the Vaporex Expulsor mouse.
A little bit.
Ooh,
it's on Twitter somewhere. On X.
That's what's exciting. I know it's not what you guys want to hear. I'm a sellout, but that's all I can say.
Roster-wise, we shall wait.
I really think, Sleepy, you guys should cash in on desks. Like gaming desks.
Oh,
Alex always, breaks desks. You can be like,
durable.
We've partnered with the most durable gaming desks in the world. Even Alex can't break it. That type of shit.
I'm just gonna say we've thought up of some crazy ideas. Whether that turns into a reality, I cannot say now, but we'll see.
Yep.
All right.
That's what we have for today.
Yeah.
I think that covers everything.
Yep.
That's going to be the 3rd episode of YAP2ASIA. Thanks for listening.
Thanks
for hanging out. Guys, blackenBlue and Sleepy.
Like, subscribe.
Smash that like button.
We're a YouTube channel now.
Yeah.
And we're
also, thank you guys for actually even kind of pushing to have Alan on here in the first place.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of the comments we're even talking about. So if you guys in the future have made it up to this point in the podcast and you want to see any guests in the future like you really want to, then let us know down below. Obviously, we read all the comments and we're like, okay, this is what people want to see. Then we give the people what they want,
Yeah. And next time, maybe our favorite Paperthin will return from his travels.
I miss him already.
Yeah.
All right.
That's it. Yes, thank you so much. And we shall look forward to the next episode.
Bye-bye.
Bye.